All right, yeah, let's do it. So appreciate y'all being here. We're going to take you through my presentation here. We're going to focus on our PGA Junior League program that we do here. For those of you who don't know, I'm the Director of Instruction here. I lead the Grand Slam Golf Academy. We have, 6, sometimes 8 professionals working there full-time teaching. And, we are very lucky, and it's like almost an embarrassment of riches in terms of what we have available, in terms of the golf course and how the Bobby Jones Golf Course Foundation has set up this property and the mission of the foundation, and ultimately charging me with fulfilling that mission of being player development programs. So, PJ Junior League is just one arm of that. We did PJ Family Cup. Doug will talk about that. We do new golfer programs, ladies programs, after-school programs, a lot of junior programs, but also everything in between too, right? So I have an amazing team, 2 of which are here, Tanya Dankert, yay, and Connor Luke. So if you need to ask questions, they both do a great job with these programs, and they can answer any questions that I might not be able to. So start with PGA Junior League. So this facility was redesigned and started 4 years ago. For those of you who don't know, it used to be an 18-hole golf course. The foundation took it over and then redesigned it for the reversible 9, the golf academy, the range, and again, the mission of the foundation is to be a public community golf hub. So the foundation really supports what we do, and we have access to the golf course, but it is financially viable. The model that we do here, it's good for the course, it's good for the profit of the course, revenue for the course, but also the instructors. So that's kind of my big theme is golf pros and golf instruction programs in the past maybe have been seen as takers of resources, right? We take tee times, we take range balls, we take space on the range, and I really believe that the model that we've instilled here is we're not taking anymore. So when you all go back to your owners and boards and say, I need this or I need that, don't just ask for it, pay for it. And you're going to see how we do that here. And I think that's the biggest thing is the percentages and how it all works out. Everyone's making money, including the golf course, and everyone's happy. So there's no hard feelings from ownership or membership or board members or however that goes. Because that's usually the first thing, right, is, well, you want to do all this stuff, but you need tee times. Well, I need to pay for those tee times, or I need range balls, or I need space on the tee, or I need the chipping green, right? All of those things were sometimes seen as takers, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I feel like professionally we can all do a better job with that, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So like I said, mostly PGA Junior League here, so kind of just go through our season. So again, the embarrassment of riches is that we're right here downtown. Obviously, there's a lot of families in this area that do have disposable income, so I'm not blind to that we are lucky that we do have the families and the kids and they have the resources to do this stuff. But how we do it is we have 2 separate leagues in the spring. They're 4-week sessions. So we had so many kids when we first did this 4 years ago, and then 2 years ago, we only had 1 league. It sold out extremely fast, and we were turning away too many kids. The goal of the program is to not have, 20 kids doing elite level. The goal of the program is to have as many kids as possible doing it, right? So our league is set up very recreational. We allow, newer golfers, younger kids, and we want as many kids as possible. That's the goal of the foundation, and that's how we structure this league. Before, sometimes PGA Junior League was seen as like super competitive. That's just not how we do it. We want more kids, more and more and more. So they're 4-week sessions. We have 2 leagues. We have a March-April league and then an April-May league. So it's 4 weeks, and then there's a makeup week because we do make up a match if we miss match for weather. So basically it's a 10-week stretch from mid-March to Memorial Day. So everything is in the school year. We don't go into the summer because in summer we switch over to summer camps. So we just do all summer camps in the spring, and a lot of parents are traveling, so they don't want to deal with Junior League in the summer. So everything is pre-Memorial Day. So it's 10 weeks, so it's 4 weeks makeup, 4 weeks makeup. We have a lot of younger kids. So we do have a 5-hole par 3 course. The holes are all 50 yards. It's called Couplings. It's up here by the academy. You can go check it out. We do ages 4 to 6 PGA Junior League for those kids on cup links. And the holes are only 50 yards, so it's perfect. And it's a 5-hole course, so we play holes 1 through 5 and then holes 2 through 5, so they do play 9-hole matches for 4 to 6-year-olds. That is a little bit smaller league. I limit that to 16 kids, but it fills up. The big league, which is ages 7 to 13, we do on the big course here, and we do 56 kids of that. So it's 4 teams of 14, and I'll show you the team setup in a second. We do the same thing in fall. We do 1 4-week season in the fall, and I'll tell you the new setup that started last year with the $99 annual fee so that they can play multiple leagues has been great for us, so that if a kid does 3 leagues, they don't have to buy 3 sets of shirts, right? It was a little redundant. So now they have 1 set of shirts. They can play in all 3 leagues. They pay their $99 annual fee, and then they're good for all 3 leagues. A lot of kids do that, whether it's the younger kids or the older kids. So the team setups, so like I said, it's 4 teams of 14, it's 56 total kids, and I evenly space everything. So I get this master list of 56 kids, and I divide it all up. I do let kids pick partners, right? And their partner is their same partner for the entire season. I kind of pair them up with a lot of spreadsheet kind of stuff that I can sort the spreadsheet accordingly based on age, and then I put kids together, and you're going to see in the next slide here. So this is kind of how it shakes out. So this was my last fall league, so you'll see that it's 4 teams of 14, and then it's evenly spaced out. So you'll see on the Junipers, I have 2 7-year-olds, 2 8-year-olds, 3 9-year-olds, 3 10-year-olds, 2 11-year-olds, 2 12-year-olds, right? So it's evenly spaced so that every team has 8 to 12 or 13. Now those partners I've already put in there so that they play with their partner. Now, just because of Bobby Jones and the Masters, we kind of do the Masters holes, the trees, right? So junipers, dogwoods, firethorns, redbuds. So before their last name was on their jerseys, they'd have junipers, dogwoods, firethorns, redbuds. So it's kind of fun. Each practice that we do, we gather all the kids up and we say, okay, the junipers played the dogwoods, and here's who won flags. We give them their flag sticker, and the kids get excited about the matches that way. And then the tee there, you'll see U is just for up tee. That's kind of a tee that we put out. It's like 50 to 120 yards. We have the PGA Junior League tees that you can purchase. They're like a few $100s, but it's worth it. That we put those out for each matches, so that you can see is 8 and under play. So it's 7 and 8-year-olds play this up tee that we put out. When they get up to 9 through 10, they play our level 2 tee, and then 11 and older, they play our level 4 tee. So for those of you who don't know what that means, the course here was designed with the longleaf tee system, where we actually have 8 sets of tees that range. You can play this course from like under 3,000 yards all the way up to like 7,400 yards if you're playing 18 holes. So on 9 holes, it's as low as 1,300 yards. So when you play this course, based on how far you hit your drive or carry distance, that's a recommended tee yardage. It's a tee level. And you'll see out there, we just have numbers in the ground for that tee level. So we've gone away from blue tee, white tee, red tee. So there's all different levels that you can play, and these levels match the recommended tee yardage by PGA Junior League. So that works out well. You can kind of see the schedule on the bottom, the blue and the orange. This is how I send this out. Each team plays each other team 1 time in weeks 1 through 3, right? 4 teams, they play each other 1 time. And then how it works is they are amassing flags. So total flags won by the team is going to get them into the championship match, which is first place versus second place. We do that on week 4. So it does build itself up over the 4-week season that they're competing. They're trying to earn flags to get into the championship, and then that's who wins the final league. So that works out really well. Again, we really speak to this during the practices, right? We say, okay, the junipers are leading the flag. So here's kind of how a match looks. So again, these partners are, if you look at it, so for example, Quinn and Olivia on the Redbuds are playing Michael and Caleb. If we go back, Quinn and Olivia are on the younger side of the Redbuds, and then Caleb and his partner are on the Junipers. So because of this setup, the younger kids play the younger kids. An 8-year-old will never play a 12-year-old in this setup. But if you play and travel against another team and the team all has 12-year-olds, well then it's just not fun, right? So now all the younger kids play against the younger kids, the older kids play against the older kids. If the teams were set up any other way, that wouldn't work, because then you would have to have younger kids playing against older kids. Now, as far as skill, if you have a really good 9-year-old playing against a brand new 9-year-old, well, that match is going to be a little bit lopsided. You can see here there's some where, this one I love. Jasmine and Zoe won 3 flags against Alex and Drew. Well, Jasmine and Zoe are really good playing female girls, and they're going to win against Alex and Drew just because they're better players. But at least it's even age-wise, right? So they're not going up there feeling intimidated or scared or whatever. And you can see this happens a lot. You can see how it was 11-10 and 11-10. So it's close, right? So then when we go through and do these flags, they know they're in it. And even if the Junipers technically lost that match, they still got 10 flags. So if they have a good week next week and maybe get 15 flags, well, they're still in the hunt for the final, right? So they're working hard to play, and we do half flags, just like Ryder Cup, and we go from there. So again, with all of this is how we do it. We've kind of learned the hard lesson a lot of times over 4 years of what works, what doesn't work. That works for this facility. This is input from the coaches who are out there, input from the parents, and everything. So we do our matches on Sunday afternoon. We did that mostly because some other sports don't do Sunday afternoon. It is a school night though, so like if you're teeing off at 4 o'clock and you're supposed to be in bed at 7 or 7:30, it's a little tough. That's why we have the younger kids go first. Pace of play is not really that much of a problem, because we have ourselves are out on the course, our professionals, plus we have helpers that go out. We have big shuttle carts that kind of help get kids from green to tee in between the holes, especially because if they're playing an up tee, right, they may only be playing a 100-yard hole, but it's 300 yards from the previous green. So we'll shuttle them as best we can up to the next tee. And then parents can also rent spectator cards. We do make the kids carry their own bag through the hole. So they do have to walk and carry their own bag, or if they have a push cart, they can do that too. All right, keep it going. So this is kind of how it shakes out. This was the end of the season, right? So that was actually, what I just showed you was the week 1 of the fall league. So you see 10-11, 10-11. So they're amassing flags throughout the season. They have a total at the bottom. And at the end of it, it was, whoever had the most flags after the first 3 weeks played in the championship. All right, so here's how the money breaks down. So 56 kids times 3 leagues, 2 in the spring, 1 in the fall, is 168 players. I charge $300 as the coaching fee, and then of course they pay the $99 annual fee at one point throughout the season. Obviously the $99 goes to the PGA for their team kits, and then 16 is the cup links kids. I do 16 kids on cup links just because there's not as much interest, and I only charge $200 for that just because I'm trying to get them more involved. Long story short, it's $60K, right? And the way we do things here in terms of our split is a 70-30 split, so the course gets 30%, so that's $18K. If you take all the tee times and you math the whole thing out, it's $27 per player per round, which isn't bad. When you look at our tee times here, we're not an overly priced course, so a walking tee time during the week is between $20 and $30. A walking tee time for 9 holes now on the weekend is more like maybe $30 to $50, but even though that's slightly under what we would charge a public person to walk 9 holes on the weekend on a Sunday afternoon, we also are selling food and beverage, obviously, and we are selling spectator cards. So we do allow the parents to rent spectator cards. It's optional. So we charge for that too, so there's other revenue coming in from those spectator cards. So when it all shakes out, the course is basically breaking even for their tee times, and obviously the foundation and the mission of the property is being fulfilled because of junior golf. And so if someone walks up to try and play golf on Sunday afternoon here, and we fortunately say, I'm sorry, sir, we don't have a tee time available for you because we have our kids out there, and then they walk around and they see a sea of blue and yellow, orange jerseys out there, and the kids are out there, they're not going to be upset. You know, how could you be upset at, you know, giving the golf course to kids, right? And if they are upset, they're at the wrong golf course. So we're okay with that too. You know, the mission here is very specific, and we're going to fulfill that mission, and a big part of that is PGA Junior League. And all of our other programs are set up the exact same way. So new golfers using tee times, no problem. You know, our junior clinic program, which we'll speak to a little bit later, you know, no problem. So again, that's how we do it here. We're fortunate that we can do it like that. We've learned our lessons the hard way over the last few years, and you know, here's where I'm at for, you know, PGA Junior League opened up last Wednesday, right? So I was hoping I'd be sold out. It was probably a little incorrect on mine, but I'm already at 50 of 56 for my first league. So I have 6 more spaces there. The second league is 30 of 56, and then for the ages 4 to 6, I'm at 9 of 16 and then 7 of 16. So we're getting there, and that's in a week exactly. So pretty happy with that. We do have everyone pay online. It all goes through Stripe, and what's nice about it is that money gets to us up front, right? So it's February. It's not today. It's not cold, but from a cash flow perspective, you know, the course is getting that cash flow now versus when it's recognized in March and April. So that also helps the course now, because there's maybe not that much cash coming into the facility right now based on, you know, weather or darkness or whatever. So this also helps too, that we use the Stripe payment, and that money is all in the bank already. So we love that. That's my part of it. Do we want to do questions on my stuff and then maybe Doug do his stuff, like kind of separately?
Anybody have any questions for Jason?
Do you have a coach per category there?
Per team, we used to, and that was fun. We would get it to where like Tanya was the coach of, you were always the coach of the Redbuds, right? Like Justin was always the coach of the Dogwoods, and I always did the, Rachel was Firethorns, I was Junipers. We stopped doing that when we added in the younger group, the 4 to 6 group, because right now, like during a practice, for example, we do, all these kids are here at the same time for practice. So we do practices later on Wednesdays. We do the younger kids on the couplings to practice, and it's usually myself. I'll do the younger kids, and with a helper. We have high school players that help us. And then everyone else, so like 5 or 6 pros plus helpers, are out with the older group. So we kind of just do it like a big group. Team. Yeah, we don't practice separately, because sometimes even though they don't sign up with a partner, they might have friends on another team. So we kind of let the teams intermingle at the practices, at least.
Your practices are all on the golf course, like?
No, on the range.
No practice on the range.
Yeah, so that's a good point. So we have the couplings, and then we have the north tee, which is the back end of the tee that we've got, 30 mats there. We've got practice greens back there that the public don't have access to. So then we'll do like a chipping game station, a putting game station. We'll do a full swing station, and then I'll do the same thing with the little ones on the front side of couplings by the academy. So, yeah, I mean, I do the little ones because my daughter does this. She's 6, so she loves it. It's great. So that's why I'll stick to the younger kids. That's my wheelhouse. Other questions?
I've got a couple of questions. One, do you have, after your championship, out of your 56 kids, do you have an all-star team? Do you play other clubs or other leagues?
So we did all-stars last year. I basically took both spring leagues and made one all-star team, and we played in the all-star regional that was here. Yeah, they did well. They did great. I mean, we did. Jacob had a team, and we played with him, so that was awesome. We do an all-star team. We're probably never going to get out of regionals, and that's okay. Yeah. That's not how my league is, and that's okay too. So I do let it to where I kind of give priority to the older kids first, right? But because that's in the summer, so many kids are on vacation. It's sometimes actually tough to get a team. So that's why I didn't do 2 all-star teams. So I do 1 all-star team. We play here. I let the older kids, have first dibs at it if they're in town, and then I kind of go down the list. Obviously, with they can't be under 10, right, to do all-stars. We don't play other teams. Again, like summertime, we're jamming with other stuff. So we're happy to do all-stars, but it's not really our focus. So.
And then the second question. Out of your spreadsheet, how many of those kids are in private instruction with you or outside of PJ Junior League? I mean, not to say another revenue, but you have
Yeah.
56 kids. How many of those are?
Yeah, I would say like most do our clinics at some point. We do after-school clinics and Saturday clinics. Most of them do clinics at some other time. I would say maybe a quarter of them do private lessons as well. It's just really up to the parents whether they want private or group clinics. Some never come here ever again. You know, they come here and do PJ Junior League. Honestly, some of these kids are members at other clubs, local in-town clubs, and whether their club doesn't do Junior League and they want to do Junior League, they're going to come here. So I turn away kids every single year that I'm as full as I can get. Like we're as full as we can get. I've got no more room, but it's because other clubs, and I'm not throwing stones, but other clubs maybe don't do the program and their parents, there's other opportunities, and there's other public courses that don't do programs too, right? So if there was a local course, public or private, that did this, I wouldn't sell out, you know, because they're coming to me because the course, even the public course they don't play at, doesn't do this. So, you know, I thank the courses for not doing it because it helps us, but at the same time, if we're trying to provide opportunity for juniors to play golf, and this is what the parents want, we need to do that for them. Go ahead, you were first, yeah.
Sure. Okay, so I had a quick question about like your structuring of your practices. We did this last year, and we kind of just took on the instruction of this is what we feel like we should be working on type of deal. Does PGA Junior League have a set little curriculum that you guys follow, or you just kind of make up skill sets amongst your instructors for the hour or 2 hours?
Yeah, we do what we think is best, you know, based on our own, you know, personal preference. You know, we do the, you know, line them up on the tee and let them hit. We're just walking the line coaching them, right? That's pretty standard. We'll do a chipping station and a putting station because, you know, the kids always need to chip better and putt better. Even in junior league, they're scrambling 3-putting, right? Which shouldn't happen. You know, so putting, chipping, full swing. Our structure is we get all the kids out there. We do results. We do flags, the stickers. We start with that. Sometimes we will do more of a demonstration of like, hey, you know, Connor saw something on the course where the kid's not putting their bag in the right spot on the green, like etiquette things, right? Rules things, etiquette things, where it's like we can teach the kids some of that in a group setting in terms of an etiquette thing, or even like marking their ball correctly, just things that we wouldn't think about as pros, but you see the kids doing it out there and you're like, okay, we need to not just teach grip, posture, alignment, we need to also teach them how to be golfers. So it's usually results, etiquette or rules, and then stations. We do an hour on that.
So just to follow up just real quick, so that's kind of what we were doing, something
Yeah.
on the same page that your system works. What about, so is there more resources that PGA Junior League offers, like those stickers, as far as like those little fun things that like, do they have like a book you can put the stickers in or something?
We'll let Doug jump on that. Doug, save that question for.
Well, I can answer that. Your first question, just want to share with you that if you complete PGA Coach, who's completed PGA Coach in here? You know, in PGA Coach, in the learnings of PGA Coach, you first learn about how kids develop at different age groups based upon our findings in the American Development Model, which was worked on with the U.S. Olympic Committee and how their kids develop in their sports and such. And so we've geared it exactly to golf so that you can understand what age group and how they develop in each age group and activities that you can provide to help them not only develop physically but mentally as well as in the game of golf. So once you complete the PGA Coach training, which is absolutely free to you, you then have access to a library of activities and things you can do in your instruction programs for your kids, everything from physical activity to golf activity as well. And so that's there. You can actually set up a lesson plan and use the PGA Coach app and follow that lesson plan while you're doing it.
Right.
So that tool is available to you for free. And all it takes, 90 minutes to complete the training, 90 minutes?
It's very good. Monday, you don't work on Monday, and you're looking for something to do, and it's ice cold outside. I mean, it's a wonderful little morning information and piece. I mean, there's so many little tidbits that I even pick up on it. And the app is really cool too. And so, I don't know, the app actually can kind of, if you're searching for a coach, it would be into your area. So it would be, if I'm in right here in Atlanta and Jason's a PGA, I'm PGA coach, and I'm searching for it, his name might pop up
Yeah.
first. Kind of like a Google Maps, who's the closest coach. So it's free marketing too for you all.
Yeah, so once you finish the training, you then set up a profile on PGA.coach, which ends up on, or PGA Coach, I'm sorry, and then ends up on PGA.com. So when a consumer goes to PGA.com to look for an instructor in the area, they're going to put in their zip code, and you're going to pop up as an instructor in the area because you've completed PGA Coach and have created that profile. I can't tell you how many numbers of leads we've now had.
You just showed me, that's
Yeah.
all.
How many?
I got a funny story about that.
Go ahead.
I got a funny story for you about that. So our GM here was checking the scores of the PGA Championship last
Yes.
year, and it was like whoever was leading, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5 was my picture and my name. Obviously, it was a paid ad, but it made it look like I was on the leaderboard, but it was like PGA Coach, right? And then you could click right there, and it was obviously it's geolocated because he was looking in Atlanta. I was like, oh, Coach. I get a ton of leads from that.
Yeah.
So
And we do that every week. When you go to look at scores for the tour, PGA Tour, you're listed there, like he said. People are looking at scores and, need a PGA coach, click here,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's free marketing for you.
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Was there a question here? Yeah.
Yeah, so I see you're doing 14-person teams instead of 12, and then just doing 2-person scramble instead of 3-man rotation. So how often do you have somebody like not show up for a match, or kids are sick? What do you do in the single player if they're
Yeah.
by themselves and you don't have that extra person there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if we go back to, let's see, is everyone actually? Who? Where? Oh, yeah. So how I do it is, it's 4 weeks, right? It's not 10. So I'm pretty stern with the parents about like, please don't, make sure you're committing to this. I don't really make too many moves on tee times for other activities or other sports. Like if you commit to this, you need to show up. And like Sophia was not here, maybe she's sick. Obviously things happen, so we're nice about it, but we just cross her out and then Theo plays 2 balls. And I don't do threesomes. We used to do threesomes where I would, if I didn't have even numbers, I'd have like, 51 kids sign up and there was a few threesomes. It was always a problem.
Yeah.
The kid sitting out is a problem. Like kid having to walk along the whole time and not being able to play, even though they can cheer on and help and caddy, it's not good. So I make it to where it's pairs, it's 14 pairs, mostly because that's as many as I can do. So that's what we do. And that's, 2 hours of tee times. And then we do kind of have a pace of play rule where it's 2 hours and 10 minutes to play your match.
Yeah.
We've also tried doing some 2-man teams when we can if we have
Yeah.
other, courses that can match up with it.
Yeah.
But then you run into somebody not showing up, and so we're always like, well, what do we do?
Yeah.
Do we let them play 2 balls, or and if it's a highly skilled player, well, the other team won't let them play 2.
Yeah.
You're getting a good person that gets to hit 2 shots versus like a lower end person. So it's definitely been something we've run into when we try to do 2. So.
If anything, like the parents get more annoyed at the kid who didn't show up, and then it is actually their advantage to play 2 balls, right? But the parents get mad when their kid is by themselves, actually. It's like, well, no, you actually had an advantage to hit 2 balls, right? Unless they win, right?
And part of our new Game Changer fee is all the new technology that we put in place for PGA Junior League. You use the PGA Coach app.
As far as like RSVP players.
Exactly, yeah. So the parents have an app called My PGA. You have My PGA. You have PGA Coach app. But your parents, once you roster your kids to your teams and you put your matches in the system, the dates and everything, they can RSVP to the matches so that you know who is coming. It also sends them push notifications to remind them. And so part of the Game Changer fee now is all the new technology we have to help you.
That's it, my PGA is where you.
Is the parent.
That's the
That's
parent.
the parent part. There is ours is PGA coach.
It's just a PGA coach?
Yes.
All the PGA Junior League stuff's under there?
Yes, it is,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Good, other questions? Jacob?
You talk about learning the hard way. I think we all have.
Oh, yeah.
Measuring the financial side was probably, what was the hardest, learning curve here?
The financial side was no problem. The financial side was cake. I mean, and some of that's just, attitude, right? The foundation supports what we do. Everyone's fine with what we do. The coaches are happy with the money. The coaches are making more money doing this than they would teaching privately at that time per hour, easily. And it's fun. We all enjoy doing it. Everyone in my academy, everyone does juniors. And if you don't like juniors, you're not going to fit in my academy. So that's kind of how we do it. The scheduling, some of it was just like getting to 56 kids and figuring out that 14 is a great number for us, plus breaking off the little kids, right? We used to let 4- and 5-year-olds even do the big course, and that was tough. So we're like, why don't we do a separate league, totally separate league on Cup? So that was only last year we started doing that. So the first 4 years, it changed a little bit every season. And even up to 2 years ago, we would have the older kids go first because we thought it would be better pace of play-wise. It really wasn't. So then we're like, well, we need to put the younger kids first earlier because of bedtime. I have young kids, so it makes sense, right? So all of these things, I would say every single season it's changed a little bit. This is probably only the first year that not much is changing, except for the price went up. Sorry. Yeah.
Got a system.
Hey, if it's sold out, it's underpriced.
Yep.
That's another rule we have.
How many females do you have on your roster out of the 56?
A lot, yeah. I mean, a ton. You could look at the names there, and some are a little tricky because they're gender neutral. But I think
Thought about doing like the all-girls team?
we definitely could. But it's fine that they can play against each other. I'd say there's at least a third, if not probably a third in each team, probably. Right. So maybe a quarter or a third are girls. When we do camps and stuff, I would say at least a third are girls. And we have 2 female instructors and one of our helpers female, so that really helps us have a massive girls program because we have female instructors and a lot of girls bring their friends. So
My 6-year-old's done it, she loves it.
yeah, Sophie does it, my daughter does it, so
Has that demographic gone up annually?
we've always had a lot of girls. My
Yeah.
my first hire was Justin. My second hire was Tanya and Rachel. So we've had female instructors straight off the jump because I know how important it is, and they've done a wonderful job. So that's been all positive. Other questions? Yes, sir.
I got 2 questions. I might have missed one. The 56 kids that you have in each one, is that 104 or 112 total, or is it same kids participating?
There's some same kids.
Okay.
With the $99 annual fee, they can sign up for both leagues.
And
They-
then
yeah.
the other thing is, from that $300, what does that break down per hour, or like how, you say it's beneficial to the coaches? What does that
Yeah.
break down per hour? Is it better than what they would do?
Oh yeah.
per
So I basically take the big chunk of money, which was on there, and then figure it out. Okay, so that was both springs, right? So there's 8 matches, and then there's 8 practices, and it's all spreadsheets and math, and it works out to where a coach will get maybe 150 to 200 for a practice, and then for a match it's maybe 800. But it's more hours. So it's probably maybe 150 per hour. It works out to be, or 120 to 150 per hour, which is higher than our private lesson fee for juniors. So it's slightly better, but it makes it, and it's a little easier than teaching privately too. So yeah, yes sir.
So the $99, if they play all 3 seasons, one-time fee, so does the PGA only take in $99 once per child, or are you taking
Correct.
that out of your fee?
No, that's one time.
Okay.
So when they sign up for this first season, it's 300 plus 99.
Right.
And then when they go back in to sign up for the second season,
So
it's
PGA
just
recognizes
300.
that
Yeah.
child's already paid
Mhm.
$99.
Yeah, they recognize the child through email or whatever, and they don't charge it again. It'll be the same for fall.
Right, okay.
Yes, sir.
I think that's a good segue to bring Doug in now, and then
Yeah.
we can,
100%.
any questions, maybe we can answer both at the.
Yeah, I'll be sitting right here, so it's fine.
My name is Doug Wert, PGA member for, be 31 years this year, and have had the opportunity to serve in all traditional roles in the business, as well as I did serve for a period of time as the first director of the PGM program at the University of Colorado in Colorado Springs, and been in this role now for 7 years. I do live in Oxford, Alabama, 30 miles across the state line in Alabama on I-20. Oxford-Anniston area there, so I'm close here to Georgia. Just every time I come over, I have to figure out the time change. You know, that's the whole fun part. But I've been in this role, as I said, for 6 years now with player engagement. It started out when I first started serving. I had the Middle Atlantic, Tri-State, Western New York sections. Got to know Lisa while I was in the Middle Atlantic and had that opportunity. And I now serve Georgia, Alabama, Northwest Florida, and Gulf states. So it's great to be back in the South, and 2, great to be closer to home and serving all of you. Player engagement, what is player engagement? We exist to help you create experiences that transcend golf and help you create more activity at your facilities, which in turn helps you create more value for yourself. So simply put, we're working hard to get more people playing more golf. Simply put, with that in player engagement, and we're here to serve you in that capacity. There's a team of 14 of us around the country as player engagement consultants, and then we have a team of 10 people assisting us at the home office in Frisco with all of the different products that we now offer. This started out as just a focus on PGA Junior League. My original first title was Regional League Manager, and working mostly with PGA Junior League. And as our department has evolved and grown more and gotten more involved in all player engagement opportunities, we're now called Player Engagement, and I'm a player engagement consultant. So this year at the PGA Merchandise Show, we introduced our player engagement suite of products. And you can see we have products available to you from everything from youth to adult, all supported by the American Development Model, which we mentioned earlier, all of our findings in the American Development Model, and then supported by all of the programs you have in your section available to you, your junior tours, everything else available to you in your section here in Georgia, as well as all the learnings and the help that you have in PGA Coach. So we do now work with the Augusta and USGA with Drive, Chip, and Putt. We have a member of our team that works with that in the PGA of America. We work with PGA Camps. PGA Camps, just simply put, is an organization that you can work with and get kids to register for camps while working with PGA Camps. They do everything for you but teach, okay? And even provide a curriculum for you if you want it, in doing it, if you want to do PGA Camp. So they pay you to run the camp, and then they handle the marketing, registration, everything that you need to get ready for the camp. But of course, PGA Junior League, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. And just recently, probably a year ago, we, in the PGA of America, purchased the Next Gen suite of products. Next Gen Golf was handling high school golf, collegiate golf, and then an organization called City Tour. We've since changed names now that they're under our umbrella. But the High School Golf Association works with high school golf coaches around the country. We host an invitational every year for boys and girls. I was at this summer at Pinehurst. They took up 3 golf courses, the number of kids that were playing in the event.
We do have here in Georgia 2 back-to-back national champions, Lambert Golf girls team, led by Sarah M., who is either number 1 or number 2 in the state for her class and going to Vanderbilt, I think, next year. So it's been a great program.
So we're supporting high school golf now, as well as the National Collegiate Club Golf Association. These are club golf teams at universities across the country. People that still want to play golf but maybe can't play at the NCAA level. We have heard stories of people who have played in the club golf and gotten the opportunity to then play on the NCAA team, which is exciting. But each spring and fall, we host the National Collegiate Club Golf Championships in different parts around the country. Last fall, it was at Paiute. Used all 3 courses there at Paiute. And so it's become very successful and growing a lot at the National Collegiate Club Golf level. And then PGA Team Golf is a program for adults. You want to think of PGA Junior League for adults. They play on teams of 3 to 4, play different formats. Atlanta has one of the biggest groups in that program. I think there's over 210 teams that play here in the Atlanta area, and they play 5 different courses throughout the summer. And then we have a team golf championship every year. The past last November I was there. It was at Sea Island Golf Resort, and so. And then PGA Family Golf is our way of getting people off the cart path watching with PGA Junior League and on the course playing with the families. Jason, can you talk a little bit about your involvement with that?
Yeah, sure. So I do that program in August because it's after summer camp, but it's before fall PGA Junior League. I do 4 Sundays, just like PGA Junior League, 4 weeks of matches. I'll have like 16 to 20 families sign up. We play the first 3 weeks on cup links, and we play the 9-hole matches on cup links, which is fun for little kids and new kids and even moms who don't play golf. They can play cup links. It's no problem. And then same thing, they get points throughout those first 3 weeks. And then we do the 4th week on the big course as a modified par 3. The holes are a little longer, but it's still a par 3. And that's how we do it. And I do that with my family, and it's a lot of fun. My 3-year-old son and my 6-year-old daughter and my wife, who doesn't play, we have a ball.
Yeah. Yep. It's a great way to get those that haven't been playing, have a good time. One of the things I want to mention about Jason that wasn't mentioned earlier, he was also one of the winners of our new Player Engagement Award this year for participating in multiple programs, plus PGA Coach. And we've awarded that this year. It's something new, and I want to make sure that you all knew that about him too. But I even had the opportunity to go watch an event in Baltimore when I was in the Middle Atlantic section. Had a mom who had never played golf. Dad bought the set of clubs 2 days before Dick's so that she could play. Dad played. The 2 kids had been playing in PGA Junior League that summer, and the coach there at the golf course decided to do Family Cup. She came and played. Happened to be on the 9th hole while they were playing it. Dad missed the green. The 2 kids missed the green. As Jason mentioned, it's a par 3 setup. She hits the best shot of the day, hits the green. We can see her down there on the green, on the tee, just jumping and having a good time. That night on Facebook, she posted how much fun she had playing with her family at PGA Family Cup, and then mentioned I have a lesson with the golf professional in 2 days. It's gotten her now into the game, and she's playing more. So that's the whole idea of PGA Family Golf, is to get everybody playing together. So this is our suite of products. I want you to look at this, and I don't want you to sit there and say, I got to do all that. No, you don't, okay? I want you to figure out, look at this as a drop-down menu of products that you can choose from, or enhance things that you're already doing at your facility. And that's my role with you, is to help you figure that out. So don't sit there and think, I got to do all this, Lisa.
So I've seen information, drive, chip, putt, PGA camps, junior league, family golf, but I've never seen anything on high school, collegiate, or team golf. Where can we go to find more information on those?
Yeah, so you can, Google National High School Golf Association. Okay. Same thing with the collegiate golf and city tour right now. Okay. It's the best way to do that. We are working on putting it all together on one website for all of you, okay? That is the next big project that we're doing in player engagement. So you'll just Google one of those 3 programs there if you're interested in participating. Just let me know. I've actually, at a couple of my golf courses in the past, have had the National Collegiate Club Golf hosted some of their local tournaments, and it was definitely well worth it for those facilities. One of them was, I was in a golf course in Sedona, and Northern Arizona University had a team, Arizona State, and all that. They all came to Sedona and played a tournament there. So it's definitely worth it. They pay to come and play. So if you have any questions about any of these, just let me know. And then along with that, we work hard to look at the 3 needs that we feel golfers have, when they come to your facilities and want to play golf. And those things, they play golf to socialize, they play golf to escape, get away from life, get away from work, and then they play golf to compete if they're at that level. And so we go with that suite of products and then focus on the different needs that you might have in your facility, whatever your customers have and what they're looking for do, and to help like I said, my role here, I'm a consultant here for you, just as you have Don Sweeting as your employment consultant. Don and I work together to make sure that we help you create more value for yourselves. You know, there's even been stories where Don is working on somebody looking at a specific job, and he's called me and said, hey, have they participated in these player engagement initiatives? And I say yes, and then we're able to figure out this is how we can help this person sell themselves more. So we work together on that, but basically 3 things. You know, I will get around the section and meet with you. You want me to come see you. I love travel. I love getting around the section and seeing facilities and spending time with you, but understanding more about you, understanding more about your facility, your consumer, and then helping you put together a good programming model. Wanted to quickly mention the PGA's new deferred compensation program. This is for PGA members. If you are not signed up for this now, I definitely encourage you to scan that QR code right now to get the information to sign up. Good, I want to see some phones up because this is free money for you, okay?
More information will be coming from the section. We are waiting on National to have a overall graphic, so to speak. So we're not the ones typing it all up, but that will be coming soon. And this is very, very exciting news, especially for some of our younger professionals as well. But it's exciting.
It gives you, I've already signed up, it gives you more information once you go through and do it.
Yeah,
So,
so you earn points by participating in various player engagement products, as well as other things that you do within the organization. And then towards the end of the year, based upon the number of points that you've earned, you will have money put into your deferred compensation account at the PGA of America. So you talk about another way to have some money at the end of your work time towards retirement. I definitely encourage you to just sign up. It doesn't cost anything to sign up. It takes like 15 seconds, I think, to sign up. So please scan that if you got any questions. And like Michael said, there's more information coming soon. And then lastly, please scan that QR code there in the bottom left. That's all of my information. I also put some cards on your tables there for you. But I just wanted to cover just real quick, coach and player registration are now open for PGA Junior League. If you've not registered as a coach yet, please go in and do it. You still have time. The section has set a date of coach registration deadline of March 15th if you're going to be participating in a multi-course league. Okay, if you're going to be in-house, you've got time to get that set up too. But I encourage you to go ahead and do it because player registration is now open. Parents are out there Googling and trying to find these programs, and if your program is not published, you're losing out on players. We had a record number of players first day of registration. 3,000 players registered first day. It was 2,000 last year. And I looked this morning, we're already up to 7,000. So last year, 71,000 players, over $15 million in registration revenue went back to coaches in PGA Junior League. And if you're on the fence, raise your hand if you participated last year or you've signed up for this year. Okay, if you're on the fence, those that raise their hand, grab them and talk to them about it. Ask them about it, okay? Ask them. You just heard a lot from Jason and the success of his program and how great it's been. And so ask your peers about it, and then let me know if you need any help, okay? Thanks a lot for the time, Sean. Appreciate it. If you got any questions, I'll be here the whole day. Just grab me and I'll be happy to help you, okay?
So, how many are PGA Junior signed up for any of those initiatives that were shown? Can you show that last screen, right underneath that ADM model?
The
And-
ADM?
Yeah, kind of your,
That one?
which blows me away. I'm just saying, I mean, my father is a life member of the PGA. He had I grew up on a golf course, so at age, I don't know, people laugh that my dad was given a lesson when my mom went into labor. So none of these existed, to my knowledge, when I was growing up in Michigan. And the fact that the PGA, like the drive, chip, and putt, what do you all think of drive, chip, and putt? First thing that comes to mind. I mean, do you see the attachment? I mean, that's unbelievable. That's exactly what it is. So how we plug in, how we get these kids to become, at the end of the day, we want them lifelong golfers, right? Because when they become lifelong golfers, they're buying equipment, they're taking lessons from you, and they're becoming members. Or they're becoming customers if we're at a public facility. And these avenues here that we are giving these kids, these young kids, and if we're looking at that youth model, the PGA Junior League, we had, at my last place, we had an all-star team, and they went to the national championship, I think 3 out of the last 4 years. And it's in Arizona. And here's these 12-year-olds playing on a national championship team. I mean, what a great opportunity. And it's just not the skill set of, like, he's a really good golfer. It was actually a team vibe. And then as you can see, like, as the child gets bigger and stronger, and he's now playing at a national level, or he's recognized on the high school level, it's unbelievable. And then the adult programming. So how many of your students, and not to say I'm going to put one of our instructors on the spot here, but how many instructors here have brought new adults to the game? Like, absolute beginner, I don't know what they're doing. Exactly. How many of them are female? Look at, like, everyone, right? I mean, that's what I was asking. Like, one of the growing populations, I think, or demographics, is the female golfer. And I mean, we have an op 36 ladies golf that Caitlin runs. I think we had 306 different ladies sign up over the last 2 years. That, I mean, yes, some have played golf before, but the majority of them are absolute beginners. So, like, the PGA is offering from every level to kind of grip a golfer or someone to play the game that we all love, that we're inspired to do, to become lifelong golfers. That, you know, this becomes a cycle of, I learned golf at a late age, now my kids are 2 and 3, and they're joining, you know, Chris's Chippers. This is the athletic club that I'm being really biased with, but it just becomes this beautiful cycle of developing lifelong golfers. So I think this is just a really cool slide here, Doug.
Yeah, and that's ultimately our goal. You put it best,
Yeah.
creating lifelong golfers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's our overall goal in player engagement and doing that and helping you do
Yeah.
that, you know. And I will share with you, you know, just for PGA Junior League, 83% of the players in PGA Junior League are beginner or intermediate golfers.
Yeah.
And you heard that from Jason and how he's working with that type of group. And then, you know, the other 17% are more advanced and probably end up participating in the national championship. And it this year is moving to Frisco, to our new courses in Frisco, Texas.
That's awesome.
So yeah, definitely great there.
Well, good. Do you all want to take a little quick break before we do a panel discussion? Is that cool, Mike?
Yeah,
One more break.
I'd say,
We had one more question.
Oh,
over
one
there,
more
I think.
question?
I have one more,
Yeah.
I have one question for you. We're considering doing this, I have a pretty long wait list every year with the junior league. We go with 4 teams as well.
Uh-huh.
I'm considering, putting up a 15, which would be kind of in with other clubs, and then doing the other 4 in-house.
Yes.
Is that can we do that through your system?
Yes,
or? Okay.
definitely. Yeah, you can create, you know, your in-house league program, and then you can have your travel team, if you want to call it. And
Yeah.
I've got a lot of coaches doing that.
It's not from more of a competitive aspect, it's more, I can take, let's say, the 12
Yes.
best. It will be an easy practice to add on for one of the other coaches, and
Yes.
then, it gives the ability where I can, you know, knock off, let's say, a quarter of that wait list.
Yeah.
Is what I was thinking.
Definitely, yeah. That's something I can help you with.
Okay,
Yeah, just have it done by March 15th. So, because after March 15th, Tanner and I will be working on all the leagues and getting them set. And then hopefully announcing all the multi-course leagues on March 22nd. That's our goal. Okay. So yeah, great question there. Yeah, if you have an in-house league too, and you want to play other courses, just pick up the phone, call another course and say, how about a fun home and away match? We encourage that as well, so the kids can play some different courses if you want. Up to you though.
Jason had one little last exclamation point on his presentation.
Yeah, I forgot to mention, Connor brought this up. I think one of the best practices that we do have is the first practice of each league is a parent meeting. So I take the
Yes.
parents, all 50 whatever of them, and we have a little chat. And the kids go with the other coaches. So that first practice is really good because I can tell the parents whatever I need to tell them about logistics and timing and expectations and etiquette and all those things that we've learned the hard way that we need the parents to help us with. And the other coaches, that first practice, we go over literally the format of PGA Junior League. What is a scramble? What does it look like? So the parents have a club and a ball, and we do like a chip scramble to teach them how to mark their ball, how to pick the best shot. how to communicate with each other. So it really is an orientation for the kids, for the format, as well as the parents, that answers a lot of questions, because we all know they're not going to read the email you send about rules and logistics and what time do I need to show up and what jersey do I wear. That's all in that meeting. So I would encourage that for sure. Mandatory in-person meeting on property, first practice.
Awesome.
Yep.
Awesome. So, and expectations, right?
Yeah.
What's the expectation, your role as a parent, right? Is to be a parent.
Yeah, stay on the cart path, no coaching.
Yeah, exactly, to be a parent. So, obviously, with the elaborate program, with all kinds of great initiatives, I've got a panel here that are doing it. They've structured a junior golf program at their respective facilities. So we have a public facility, we have a semi-private, and we have a private facility here on the panel. And they're going to obviously introduce themselves and tell them what their facility looks like, and then what they're best at doing, right? And where do they feel like their bread and butter is, if you will, and what demographic they can reach. And I'm going to have Lisa Rogers lead us off. She's at Bentwater.
Good morning, my name is Lisa Rogers. I'm the head golf and head teaching professional at Bentwater Golf Course in Ackworth, Georgia. So I am fairly busy all day long. I started there in March of 2019 as just the teaching professional, and then in May of 2021 they added the head golf professional role to my title. I'm going to keep going with my program, or are we moving?
Yeah, Jason, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Jason Cochran. I am at Chicopee Woods Golf Course. We are a public facility, 27 holes. We did 76,000 rounds of golf last year. Wow. I just started in April. I was with Golf Tech for 10 years. So a lot of this has been, for last year, it's just been a big planning phase for me to get a junior program going. There wasn't really anything going on when I walked in the door. So we've got some good stuff to talk about today. And
Chris.
I'm Chris Moore, junior golf leader at Atlanta Athletic Club. Been doing the junior golf role for 8 years. Was 7 years inside the golf shop before that. So I've been at the athletic club a long time. We've got a lot going on at the AAC. We're also very blessed to have some great facilities and great memberships. So it's been a long process to build up to where we are, and we've got some more stuff that we'll be happy to talk about. But looking forward to this.
So, Lisa, at a semi-private facility, how you got there as a teaching professional, what was your obligation to junior golf?
So when I got there, I started pretty much at zero. Had no students, had nobody. Got off to a late start, so my first thing was to sign up for PGA Junior League to kind of just get the word out. My first year, I think I had 8 kids total, because I did get off to such a late start. And then I tried to just structure a bunch of youth clinics. And at the time, management wasn't really helpful about getting the word out about instructional stuff, so it was pretty much just me kind of pounding the pavement. So I basically started really small. I had clinics for younger kids, clinics for older kids, PGA Junior League, and then summer camps. So first year was pretty slim, but that was my main focus, was just to kind of, I felt like if I could get the kids to come, mom and dad would follow, hopefully eventually.
What ages did you kind of go at?
So I started kind of 6 to 9 for younger, and then kind of 10 to 14, 15. Right now, I think I fall in. Most of my kids are between the ages of 7 and 12. I want to say is kind of my core group of juniors right now.
And Jason, what about you? Your obligation as a role model there for junior golf, demographic age?
yeah, so demographic age right now is about 8 to 15. So it's kind of a mix. I notice we have normally just younger kids at between 8 and 10, and then 13 to 15. So we've got a little bit of a gap kind of in there.
Do you have the same support as Lisa? Kind of on your own?
Well, now I have better support, but when I first got started, I didn't.
So when I started there, when I accepted the position, they were very adamant about getting a junior golf program there.
Yeah.
That was was one of their biggest requirements, is that somebody tackle that. So, as I said, I've done a lot of planning this year. I've come up with a couple different programs for this year. We've got some PGA junior camps set up for the summer. We've talked to all the schools in the areas. We've got 40 to 50 kids coming out for a free clinic on Saturday. So we're doing everything we can to get some kids in there.
And Chris, when you took over the program 7, 8 years ago, what was the junior golf program like? And tell us a little bit of the grass where it is now.
So it was a wonderful junior golf program. Going back to Mike and Jimmy and Matt, they'd all done a wonderful job building it up. I was in a very blessed spot to take over a really good junior program at a place that has great membership, supportive membership, and big facilities. I mean, we all know you got to have a driving range. I got a par 3 course that basically I can reserve for whatever I need. And that's huge. And then the things I realized kind of my first year was, if we're going to grow, we've got to get younger and we've got to expand our hours. Competition for kids' attention and parent resources is higher than ever. I mean, I have a 9.5-year-old that dances, and it's quite the commitment. She started when she was 5 or 6. So if you don't engage those kids younger and get them at least interested, there's a good chance you're going to lose them. If you're starting at 7, if you're trying to reach kids at 7, and that's your youngest age, you're going to have a hard time. That's too young, or it's too old for them to really get into it. We've got a 3- and 4-year-old class, and I know that's some of you that sounds crazy, but Caitlin can attest that it's incredibly popular. I'll send out sign-ups for this Saturday. I'll send up sign-ups for this Sunday, this afternoon, and it'll be full in 2 hours. So it fills up, and they're hooked, and then it progresses from there. It's not about the instruction at that point. It's about the engagement at that point. It's about the fun. And I put a couple of slides together that are on the back of the packet. You got it, check in. And basically the premise of our program is safety, fun, fundamentals. Build those 3 things. And if you notice, fundamentals was a third of what I said. It's about being safe and making it fun and getting them started. And then it's also about having a place for them to progress. They go from little chippers. Those are a la carte clinics, and then it gets them into a similar program to kind of what Jason was talking about earlier. We call it Little Birdies. It's 5 and 6 years old. It's taking advantage of the big driving range we've got, taking advantage of the par 3 course, and modifying a format that lets them play and getting the families to invest for a season, full 10-week season in the spring. You get them to invest. Even if you miss on that first clinic that the kid comes to, my parents signed them up for 16 more clinics or say matches. You got a chance. And if you do it right, you got a real good chance of getting them hooked by the end of the season.
It's similar to what you did, Jason, right? When you first got here, you didn't start with the cup links. You started the PGA Junior League, and then you realized there was a demand to do a little 5-hole or the 50-yarder course, and you went younger a little bit after year 1, right?
Yeah. I mean, younger, the demand is there. Our Saturday morning 3 to 5 clinic sells out every week automatically.
It
35 degrees, and there's 12 kids out there trying to chip away at it. So our sweet spot is definitely like 5 to 8, and then 3 to 5 is really busy too.
Who's teaching under 5? Who offers a program under 5? Yeah, excellent. And do you feel like that is in terms of Chris's point of view, do you think that is more the engagement, or do you feel like you have to, teach them the fundamentals? Do you feel like you put that onus on you, like, I gotta teach these kids the fundamentals right now, grip, stance, posture? Yeah, you're being silly, right? It takes a large personality and some fun, and just to get them excited about the next week, right? So I think that's awesome. So starting up a program, let's just say, I mean, not to bring the bias from the AAC and realize that it's a 36-hole facility, large driving range, and a par 3. It's kind of like you can do whatever you want to. But from your point of view, from where you guys all stand, if we were to start, we've built a new facility, not bringing Bobby Jones in here, we built a new facility. What kind of structure would you start putting in place to really gravitate that next gen of golfer? Would you start with multi-layer program, or would you go with, hey, what do I have right now in my demographic? What would you guys do? And have you lead, Jason? Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, just we try and just offer something for everybody, right? So different age groups, after-school clinics, a la carte, Saturday clinics, and then junior league is kind of a little bit more competitive, so that's a half a step up. And then as they get older and grow from there, then it's a lot of private lessons, but we also have teenager clinics and high school clinics and things like that. So you just have to find that, what does each group need or want, and then so that you're catering to each group, the 3 to 5s, the 5 to 8s, the 9 to 12s, and then the 12s in high school. And you've got to have beginner, recreational, and then advanced. You've got to have it all. And so you try it all, and some of it fails miserably. We failed miserably here on a lot of things, and you just roll with it and just go on to the next thing. I mean, you're doing it right now. You're starting a program, so what do you got?
Learning process, right?
Yeah.
For me, my demographic is we really didn't have anything. So talking to people, doing lessons. Most everything that I've done so far has been through referrals from people. I might be teaching somebody's 10-year-old and their parents really love it. And then they go tell that parent. And then I've got another 10-year-old, 12-year-old walking in the door. I think you definitely have to have variety, like Jason was saying, short game, putting. You got to have clinics. Do that multiple times a year in the spring and the fall. Offer that to your adults as well. We had a great turnout. We did some short game when I first started there. We did adult short game weeks, and we filled them up. We had 20, 30 adults showing up these clinics every week. Just trying to do that with the kids right now. So we've developed a website, junior league page on there, so it's just dedicated to the juniors on that webpage. We're hoping that gets some exposure. We've had about 200 hits on that page over the last 36 days, so it's pretty good. I'm pretty optimistic about what we're going to do this year. Like I said, I've been in the planning phase since April with all this, so Jason, obviously a lot of experience in this room.
Yeah.
This is all really new to me, being that I went to Greengrass in April, and I was in the corporate world for 10 years. A lot of golf lessons, 45,000 lessons in 10 years, but just really hoping to grow something really special up in Gainesville right now.
That's great. And Lisa?
So when I started, again, I just offered kind of everything under the sun to see what would hit and what wouldn't, and kind of narrowed it down from there, figuring out who I could get to come out. A lot of it was by word of mouth. You have a kid come, they had a great time, and they go tell little Johnny's mom, or Johnny's mom tells little Susie's mom, and suddenly she's at the clinic. And I just have started using Operation 36 to help structure stuff. Hopefully, I think one of the things parents are looking for nowadays is kind of they want to see how their kid is progressing. Like, they don't just want me to say, oh, they're doing better. Like, they want some hard facts. So when I structure my clinics now, I have a curriculum. I use you at Operation 36 to kind of set it up, but I do use US Kids Golf as well and kind of intermingle. I like both programs. I like US Kids more for the really kind of young beginner golfer that's never really played before, and then as they get a little bit better, start introducing some of the concepts in Operation 36. And then supplementing that with summer camps. I think I've had one kid, he started in summer camp, loved it, came to like 4 in one summer, like back to back to back to back. Mom came to me, said, what else can he do? He loves it. I said, okay, well, I've got this junior program running in the afternoons. And she's like, well, what else? Okay, well, PGA Junior League. So here's a kid that I funneled through one thing, and he'll keep going because he loves it so much. So
You've made a good point in terms of benchmarking and to see progression. Anyone have any tools that they use at their facility to kind of help the parent understand where their kid is headed? If there's something that we haven't mentioned, or what tools, or if you're doing your own stuff, what do you got?
Well, I work for Open Minded, so they've created a system for that.
Yeah.
It's like a level, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The kids take a skill at the end of the class, you mark it off, the parents see the sticker in the book, we're using an app now, so yeah, we're trying all that.
I think all those, like that incentive right there, I think that's part of the engagement, to see them kind of improve or to see them go to the next level. Mike, what do you got?
We up until January, I have used a hat system since 2000,
was at the athletic club. But yeah, so the idea is with Operation 36, so when I sat down with Matt and those guys when they first started, they, as you guys may know or may not know, they had 4 levels, right? And my thing was, it's impossible. You can't send a newbie out there at 250 yards and say, okay, when you shoot hard, you're gonna get this reward. Because they're not gonna do it. It's like teaching 5-year-olds to shoot threes. So our hat levels start on the putting green. They go to 25, 50, 75, 100 yards. I broke it down. Somebody asked me, they said, how much does that cost? I don't care. I didn't care the entire time I've done it, so for 23 years I haven't cared. I would much rather spend money, right, to see them progress. When I got into golf, a clinic was the same every single year, right? My idea was, it's gotta be like education. So I grew up in a family of educators. So K through 12. So now make a golf system that's K through 12, right? They graduate, they go to first grade, they go to second grade, they go to third grade. So the parents should know exactly where they stand. We did it in-house, e-golf instructor, right? So they build the website, they can set it up however you want. There's probably maybe 5 people that use e-golf instructor, and it just happens to be like, you know, Dave Potts, Tim Foster, out at Reunion, Jeff Frazier, and myself. So that's a good way to show progression, because I think that once they see that there's progression, you'll keep them. And as you've heard, the younger you get them, the easier it is to show progression.
Okay. Jacob, were you raising your hand? Do you have a tool at Ansley, or?
So we have our level system as well. We've
Yeah.
done the hats, we've done bag tags as well, and we haven't found one that fits perfectly, but each year, like, we keep trying to just get new incentives for it.
Yeah, I think, sir.
I just have a question.
Sure.
Jim, over here, you said y'all use an app. What is that app that you guys use? I think that would be a great idea.
It's just something the company.
Oh, really?
You have to be an invited club course to have access to it.
Yeah. The app, and from there you have, that'd be great. Okay, never mind.
Hey, you know, I mean, get to work. All of us will start like buying into it. Chris, go back to you in that last question in terms of where you feel to start up a program using your past experience and so forth. Where do you feel like you would start directly, or just kind of know your audience?
Yeah, I mean, truly know your audience, but then whatever you decide to do, commit to it, plan it, organize it, operate it. Don't halfway it. Nothing, parents can see through people so fast if you halfway it. Whatever you decide to do, you'll probably be successful if you plan it, commit to it, organize it, and operate it. You do that right, you're probably gonna be successful. You're probably gonna be successful. I mean, that's what I would say is more important than the specific program you put together. It's more about, like I said, plan, organize, operate, and commit to it.
How many struggle with the support from their facility with junior golf? Why do you think, Bill, and put you on the spot, why do you think that is? And is it?
Just in a meeting last week, it's all about bottom line revenue, and you're not looking at long picture, and what the members and the engagement, all that, you're looking at your dollars per round right now today.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough hill to climb. And it's, you know, going back to one of Jason's slides here, I mean, he showed $18,000 through 56 people, oh, pardon me, it was 72 people that the club's gonna receive. I mean, and that's just through one avenue, so.
So I just want to share, you know, specifically with PGA Junior League, we have created a value tracker in our system. If you participate in PGA Junior League, at the end of the season, you put in information in our value tracker to help you see the value of the program that's brought to you as the instructor, the coach, as well as to the facility. And just to share, PGA Junior League, on average, in those that have filled out the value tracker, anywhere from $15,000 to $17,000 just for that program goes back to the facility in food and beverage, merchandise sales, cart rentals, extra green fees, things like that. And so if you need any help with information like that to help you, let me know, because I can help you more with that.
It's fun. I mean, it would be nice for a facility to be really upfront and say, hey, we need X. And you go out and do X, right? But really, it's not. They see it as, well, what's the revenue loss when I give up 2 hours of tee times, right?
Well, so I would just, the whole percentage thing, and that's where I don't have that issue here, but because so we did $1 million in lesson revenue programs, right? And that's 30% goes straight back to the club. So I'm not asking for anything for free. I'm offering $300,000 cash, plus all the goodwill. That's nothing to just sneeze at. It's a lot of money. That's where, and I'm happy to give it.
Yeah.
I don't know what, everyone's got probably a different deal in this room and percentages and that, but I'm happy to give 30%.
Well, I think if you could structure it during the slow time, I know it's harder for you, but I know Saturday afternoons at my facility are dead, so it's like, okay, we're gonna run Op 36 and PJ Junior Leagues on Saturday afternoon, and, okay, well, here's money that you wouldn't be getting, so, and they might go in and eat, and, they're probably gonna, they rent golf carts, so here's all this extra cash in a time where you'd not be getting what you're getting. So I think if you can prove
Saturdays
that.
from 12 until 6 sometimes, I don't know why. No one's on
Yeah.
property, I have no idea. Especially somewhere around Labor Day to,
Yeah.
just happens to be. But that being said, obviously, there's difficulties in any operation, and the one thing I think what facilities don't understand is that junior golf is the simplest, the least invasive way to get someone hooked into golf.
Yes.
And then them to get them onto the golf course, because their expectation, that 6-year-old or 5-year-old, is just to be around golf. It's not 18 holes. Most 12-year-olds can't even play 18 holes, right? And let alone, in not in a competitive manner, but they don't have that capacity. It's attention span and so forth, but just to get them hooked for even one hole. But facilities have the expectation that, oh, you're taking a tee time, that's 18 holes. That person's out there for 6 hours on our property, and really, it's not that long, and it isn't. Summer camps. The summer camps, I think, are a great public facility. River Pines is over here, Bobby Jones. How do you market that out to the public to come, or is it word of mouth, invitations only? What is it to get people in here from a public standpoint? And even, Bill, you guys are semi-private, right?
Semi-private, yes.
So do you offer camps to the public?
Yeah, we do have camps and
Yeah.
Facebook, emails, word of mouth. I mean, pretty much the engagement, just juniors in our program and through our neighborhood, so that's pretty much about it.
River Pines?
I'd say, because, we're in a good demographic where
Yeah.
we are the only public facility really in that pocket,
Yeah.
in that North Roswell, Johns Creek, Alpharetta pocket. It doesn't take much marketing at all. I just turn the switch on and there we go.
Yeah. The driving range probably, Bobby Jones' driving range is pretty good, but you see a River Pines driving range, I used to pass it all the time. Sometimes it was 3 deep standing,
Wow.
just amazing.
It's great that is the best program as far as less challenges that we have. Because we do it, that's the main one we do in the morning. I've thought about shifting some other things in the morning. So River Pines' driving range, as far as activity, it's like a small storm. It starts and it just builds slowly all the way across, and then about noon it's sold out. Well, we've already used the range and gone on to the other things. So it really makes it easy on those guys for the summer camps where we have challenges doing afternoons and the other stuff, saying, hey, I'm gonna take, 12 bays at 5 o'clock.
Chris, could you talk a little bit about how many weeks you do, that you're at a private facility, how many kids you take, just the whole structure of your summer camp? that you would do?
Yeah, so summer camp, so it will be between 24 and 30, depending on the week, 6-to-1 ratio. Basically, we outline our day of 9 to 11, 9 to 9:15 is check-in, little exercise, little warm-up, 9:15 to 11, skill games, rotating through stations, 11 to 11:45, lunch. They can either bring their lunch or they can charge lunch to their account over at the pool. We pre-order menus so we don't overwhelm the pool with 30 kids coming in wanting cheeseburgers. They fill it out at check-in what they want and get it over there. So spend about 45 minutes or so eating lunch over by the pool, 15, 20 minutes getting them from the pool over to the par 3 course, going over some rules and etiquette, covering your ball marking, covering where you put your golf bags, no run on the green, stuff like that. And then we used our par 3 course from 12 to 1:15 or so, play. It depends on the week, depends on the kids. You got to tailor it to your kids, but play some sort of modified format for a little over an hour, and then bring them in. Usually have a closing putting game of some sort of challenge. So
Do you do that with like all age groups too? So
we-
young kids, or do you have a shorter?
we
kid
say-
bunch?
no, we say that is our camps. Those are our camps. I say 7 to 13, and we've got enough kids that are 5 and 6 that have done 2, 3, 4 years of stuff already that they can join in when I approve them. But I advertise it as usually 7. So because it is a long day for them. I mean, it is a long day for them. But that's partly, that was one of the other things. I mean, that's what the parents, they wanted them. They wanted those. They want the
certainly do.
4.5
They wanna
hours.
drop 'em off and
Yeah.
Come back in 6 or 7 hours
Yeah.
to pick them up.
Yeah, they want a
I
full-
was just wondering with like the attention span of like 5 and 6
Yeah, you
year
just-
olds, like how do you get them to go?
Energy.
And obviously,
I mean,
you said you go to the pool after
energy.
lunch. So
No,
you're
that's
right?
just where we eat.
Oh,
We don't
okay.
actually go to the pool. No, we don't. I don't do swim. I'm not a swim coach. No, I'm not a swim coach. No, no, that's just where we eat. So there's a shaded pavilion, and we just eat over there. So it's right next to the par 3 course. So
And when do you start marketing your summer camps?
they're out.
Yeah.
They're out.
I think
Already
that's-
out. Yeah.
It's really important in terms
Yeah.
of hearing that, is that he's just, he's game planning, because parents, and the kind of the plight that sometimes we have is the kids out of school at summer
Yeah.
vacation, right? We have aerification.
Yeah.
An aerification season is basically 10 days in July, and those 10 days just, nothing
Yeah.
exists.
Yeah,
And so-
they'll always aerify the par 3 on the week leading up to the 4th. So we won't do a camp that week, but we'll do one every other week of the summer from the week after, first full week after Memorial Day through that last week of July.
You're not doing on the 4th of July as well, that week?
Depends on where the 4th falls. So this year it's on a Wednesday, so I've set up a Tuesday, I believe, and we're closed. The club's closing Wednesday the 5th. If I'm going by memory here, but so then we're doing a 2-day camp on 6 and 7 on the Thursday, Friday. So is what. But yeah, as soon as the board approved the calendar, the 2023 calendar on January 29th, I sent out summer camps. Sent them out and let them go.
And
So.
kind of going back to like a storm, I mean, just don't wait for, all right, well, it's May, I gotta get some summer camp stuff out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotta, because if you want participants, I mean, they're gonna probably, believe it or not, if your camp's successful, they're gonna do their summer vacation around some of the camps.
One schedules.
And
Parents plan 6 months in advance for their kids' stuff, so
Yeah.
the sooner you have it out, the sooner,
Yeah.
the more successful you're gonna be.
Right. And I think that's a huge point. And a successful junior golf program is to kind of start planning out the year, plan a schedule, but also where your big, I mean, not to say big money makers, but the summer camp that is, takes so much time out of Chris and Caitlin's time and so forth, that you have to plan for it well in advance. Any other things that you, from the audience, that you want to ask the panel here in terms of their troubles, their successes? Because no matter what we do, and I think Chris said it best, don't, I guess if anyone saw like Green Lights, right, or read the book Green Lights, Matt McConaughey, don't half-ass it, right? So that's, Chris is a little more kind, but don't halfway it, right? But if you're gonna do a junior golf program, do it, and if it doesn't work, learn from it and make it better the next time. Don't quit. I know we had we struggled to get junior golf going Country Club of the South, and we brought in someone that was really successful at doing a competitive junior league, and we were able to get junior golf kind of flowing a little bit. We weren't very successful in doing summer camp, so we had to partner up with another company that would do an all-day camp. But just to get people, like, to get our kids kind of in the flow of being around golf in the summer and around us as instructors, because hopefully they're going to be longtime students and purchase equipment. And, you know, as much as we want the 6-year-old that really looks good and can pivot really well and grips the club correctly, like, hey, this is the next, you know, Tiger Woods, or this is the next Jordan Spieth. Really, I mean, there's so, you can't even project that these days, but so much going on. And so I know that's where we were not very successful at, and we struggled, and, you know, but that's our demographic. We didn't have many young kids there. A lot of them went over to River Pines right next door, because we just didn't have, I mean, no kid wants to go with 4 kids for a summer camp all day. And you know, oh yeah, we're over at River Pines, because it's a full day and it's 12 kids and it's exciting and it's fun. We just were not good at doing that.
Yeah,
So
and
I know that.
to Sean's point, I mean, we've got things rocking at the athletic club now, but it's never been, we've had our share of mistakes too. I mean, there's no question, we've had our ups and downs. I mean, we're in a good spot now, but, you know, commit to what you want to do, learn from when something does go wrong, and then try and build upon it. Because there will be ups and downs as you're trying to build it.
I think one of the I mean, and it going from one place to another place and to see the level of support, I mean, obviously support from top down is really important, but really you got to realize that you're the professional also, and that you've got to make sure those parents are under control. So my next question is that right there, and Jason, you were so kind to say this orientation, but what's your best practice to get the parents under control in regards to, I mean, small quiet, like, hey, Johnny's such a good golfer, why isn't he, you know, progressing? Or, hey, I noticed that you don't, when you walk the line, I'm using kind of the clinic format, you don't pay attention to Susie. And all these, or I want my kid to be this, my kid's the next this, and we all think our kid's the greatest, right? And I think that's amazing, but how do we handle parents? You guys are in the field, in the grunt of it all with the younger kids. I handle a lot of high school kids, and I'm comfortable telling a high school parent what I feel, and tell even the high school kid, you know, what is real and what the expectations are. But the younger kids, how do you handle parents? I'll start off with you, Lisa.
So I think I do something similar with Jason for PGA Junior League. I do a sort of a parent junior orientation. I do a little bit different. I actually set aside a day where they come inside and I create slides and I put it up and, okay, here's what PGA Junior League is, and get all the parents on board. A couple of years I actually made them sign the spectator contract where they parents had to agree to stay over, you know, out on the cart path, had the kids sign their portion of it, that this is what they were agreeing to. I've stopped doing that, but I think for me it's more just about having a conversation with them and communicating with them. I don't mind parents coming if you know, I've got a clinic and the parents want to sit there and watch. I'm completely okay with that. I want them to be on board with, you know, whatever I'm telling them. I want the parent to be on board with that, and then if they have a question, hey, why did you do this? Come right over and ask me, and I'll tell them. So I'm completely, my PGA Junior League practices, I might have 15 parents watching it. And I'm okay with that. If I have a private lesson and they want to watch, I'm completely okay with that as well. As long as, you know, on the back side, if I'm working on something or I'm asking little Johnny to get his grip maybe a little bit better, he's at the level where it needs to improve, I need dad or mom to do that and not start fiddling with backswing. So I think it's just an open communication with the parent and letting them know that you honestly have their child's best interest at heart, and that nothing that you're doing is, you know, to hurt them.
Yeah, set expectations. I mean, set expectations, and I mean, you're signing your kid up for a 3 and 4-year-old golf class. Let's keep this in mind what this is. Okay, we're gonna have fun. They're gonna be safe. They're gonna go through 3 stations. They might pick something up. Honestly, they might not pick anything up golf-wise, but they're gonna have fun. They're gonna be safe. They're gonna get a coloring page and a lollipop at the end, and they're gonna want to come back next week. And so let's set the expectation with the parents that that's what this is. If you don't want to participate in it, I respect that, but that's what this is. And so,
Do you let the parents help out, like in the 3 to 4-year-olds, so that they
no,
have to
I mean,
stay out?
they need to be there in case we have a potty break or something, but I mean, they don't, they're not part of the instruction
They
team.
wanna try to walk in there and help out?
No, they're not part of the instruction team.
Okay.
So we use range baskets. Classes are typically 16. We use range baskets, turn them upside down. That's where they're all trained to come in, sit on the range basket. We do a quick opening, break them into 4 groups of 4, send them to their stations, rotate through. They'll end up going to 3 stations, not all 4, but they just go to 3. Takes about 10 minutes a station, come back in, we go over our quick overview, give them their lollipop. Yeah, they take their basket with it, put it on their head, that's very common, very common. But no, I mean, it works great. I mean, and then they only go one at a time when they're at their station. The 2 rules are use your listening ears and sit on your basket. And it works great. I mean, and it's quick, it's efficient, and you know, it works. And then they get their lollipop and their coloring page that usually has some sort of golf theme to it, and then they're interested, and that's all you're going for.
We keep dum-dums in business.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
An instructor for each group,
Mhm.
split them up
Yeah.
by 6 of 4, so that-
Yeah, we keep the instructors at the station. We find a fresh face, and re-engages them. So Caitlin's kind of our little chipping specialist. But so we find when you rotate them stations, if they see a fresh face, it re-engages them a lot of
How
times.
long do you keep them in each station?
About 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a 45-minute class.
I was gonna say 10
Yeah.
to 15 minutes is max for
Yeah,
that
it's
age
a-
group in terms of.
Yeah, it's a 45-minute class. Starts at 1, like I said, 1:05 by the time we're breaking into groups. Back at the home base at 1:41, 1:42, and then lollipops on their way, so.
It's the easiest money.
It is, I mean. I mean, it's,
It is, sure.
yeah, but it is the building blocks. I mean, this spring, the next level up that we have, we call it Little Birdies. I mean, we've got record signups for it
Yeah,
this spring, and it's.
We've got the junior golf program, the ACC junior golf program.
Yeah, and it's, I mean, of the Little Birdies that are signed up this spring, there's a lot of them that they're graduating, and that goes back to Mike's point earlier about progression, and you talk about helping with parents. You give the parents something for their kid to shoot for, those parents are gonna bring the kid out to try and get them to that next level, even if it is going from little chippers to little birdies. You know, the difference at Little Birdies is that now it's no longer one at a time, and now we're using real golf clubs. So now it's becoming more like real golf. But of the Little Birdies we've got signed up, we've got a lot of new faces. They're not new faces to us because we've done little chippers with them, but they're new faces to Little Birdies this spring. And they're graduating. A lot of Little Birdies have moved up. So again,
You have a curriculum you use, or you just coming up with these activities yourself?
mostly on our own. I mean, years of experience, just doing years of all these clinics and everything. So you know which ones their favorites are, and you got to tailor it to who you have to. I mean, you gotta keep it simple.
When do you let them join the par 3 tour? Do they have to like do a
Depends.
certain skill or?
It depends. It's mostly at coach's discretion, is what it really mostly is. I mean, what she's referring to is on that page. It's like after they get through our chippers and birdies and eagles, kind of our leagues, our introductory non-competitive leagues, is send them on Sundays on the par 3 course is the par 3 tour. It's a scramble format, so it's a chance for the beginner. Again, this has been going on since way before I ever took over. But a chance for better players, bring the younger kids along. We really try and preach mentorship culture, even if it's a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old. That can be it's a big gap in age, but that can be a huge deal for that 9-year-old. And it's good for the 13-year-old too, to remember, because most likely they were one of those 9-year-olds 3 or 4 years ago. And so you talk about progression on the par 3 tour. Every start is tracked on a money list. It is tracked on a money list. They pay a small entry fee. It's paid back out in golf shop credit. to them. And it's a motivator. I mean, every Saturday when I post the new money list, I'm overwhelmed. I got 7, 8, 9-year-olds. What'd I get last week? What'd I get last week?
And not to, bring the AEC, but, it might be a $20, they get $20. I mean, there's not a whole lot you can buy in a golf shop for $20, like at AEC for $20, so. But they have, but being honest,
Yeah.
they're taking a $20 coupon and buying, a Peter Millar golf shirt for $60,
Yeah.
and like.
Or their parents are saving them for the next set of clubs.
Right,
The parents are
exactly.
telling them, no, you're saving it for the next set of clubs, so.
Right. So, that's another, go back to Jason's revenue, like,
Yeah.
somehow you've got to be creative to get your facility to really, support you and realize that this is a model, this is a program that is greatly going to benefit you long-term. We know for a fact that when a young family comes to the AEC, and if you came out on a 4 o'clock on a Wednesday in the springtime and you see what our driving range looks like, and you would be like, well, this is where we need to be. Like, it is the greatest selling point. We could, sure, we actually have a Bobby Jones Hall of Fame too. We have it's a nice clubhouse. It's a beautiful clubhouse, but a young family sees another young family on the range and going, okay, this is where I want to raise my kids. This is where we want to be. And that tool, that model just keeps breeding more and more young members and more kids into our program. And it's not necessarily word of mouth. It becomes, no, I want to be like that.
Yeah.
It's just right there in your face. And then the next thing you know, like, we cannot exist without our junior golf program.
And that's what's been so fun in the last 5, 6 years is we've had this incredible run. I don't know if we'll ever duplicate the run, to be honest with you, of kids leaving, and not just leaving to go play college golf, but leaving to go be really good in college quickly. And all of these middle schoolers and young high schoolers are now saying, I want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I want to be that girl. I want to go to Vanderbilt. I want to go to North Carolina. I want to go to Georgia.
Yeah.
And so now it's just like Sean said, now it's just feeding on itself. I mean, now it's open the doors and keep it rolling. It's just feeding on itself.
It's a big wave, and
Yeah.
we're blessed to just ride it, and hopefully it doesn't stop.
Exactly.
We try not to mess it up. I know that. I'm
We
guilty
try not to mess it up, but.
kind of, poking the bear every now and then, but ultimately, but that, we all have our own difficulties, we all have our own successes, and we know exactly what makes us work, right? And we just want to kind of keep fueling what makes it work, right? And so I know that from my instructional standpoint, is I'm probably not as gifted as Chris or Caitlin with the younger kids as I am with an adolescent that's 15 or 16 years old. And it's because of my pretty much past experience and also willingness to teach that. So keep that in mind. Don't try to be everything to all the juniors. Do what you do really well and keep doing it. And then, believe it or not, you grow with that kid. That's just becomes a relationship more than anything. I think, when did you start teaching David Ford?
He was 12 and a half or 13.
And he
I
went
think.
through chippers and...
Well, he went through, he played a lot of different sports.
Okay.
And he went through our junior stuff.
He
and
went
then
through
was-
the junior stuff, he started teaching them privately, and David Ford's he's probably gonna make the Walker Cup team.
Good chance.
A good chance.
Good
He's,
chance, yeah.
I don't know, the top 10 in the,
Something
on
like that.
Wagger right now?
Yeah.
So, you know what he is.
He's 6 on Wagner right now.
He's a very good golfer, and it's the Fords, they're triplets, but the two boys, one goes to Georgia, one goes to North Carolina. And I've never seen, they play with everyone.
Yeah.
They are great ambassadors for our club, and a lot of it goes back to what Chris was saying, and I'm not praising the Fords and Chris here, it's just actually the program itself is the mentorship program. That these kids are playing with, they're 12 and 13-year-olds, and they're loving it, and they're having fun, they're playing short game games with them, and it's not like, oh, well, I'm too good for you, it's like, no, this is actually, I can't wait to do this, because someone did this for me when I was 9 and 10. And so I think that's an unbelievable program to have a mentor program at your facility. Any other questions?
The last point on that, again, just the last point on that is, this is 20 plus years in the making. This is not, you're not gonna leave here and go build this summer. at your club. You're all going to do great things, but this is 20-plus years in the making to get to this point. So pick what you do well, organize it, plan it. You'll be successful. Then build on it and keep planning. Keep building.
Yeah. And then to you guys, from the parent standpoint, I think being open, honest, have a good conversation, talk to them, tell them what you're doing, tell them what you're gonna move on, like, this is why we're changing the grip, or this is why we're trying to do it. I think the more you have the parents' trust, the more you can do whatever you want to with that kid. But again, it does come with a little bit of the after-hour price, right? I don't know how many phone calls I've had at 9 o'clock in the evening, that takes away from my family, but at the same point, you know what you're doing. You're trying to build a relationship, you're trying to make sure that this kid's in the right place, and so he can grow and move on. And I think that's, for me, that's a lot of what my instruction is relationship building. And I think that if we didn't have a relationship with our students, I don't think we would be that good as instructors. And I think that fuels the fire in my belly to become a better instructor. Is like, okay, how can I reach this kid to get to his dreams and his aspirations, even if it is going to go from chippers to birdies to eagles, right? Those are all aspirations as much as a college kid wanting, a high schooler wanting to play college golf or a college golf wanting to play professional. All right, cool. All right, so batting cleanup here. I'm so excited about Bill Murchison, his presentation. I've known Bill for a long time. We played a lot of competitive golf together. We were just kind of talking about, we both had this aspiration of being a much better golfer than we currently are. But our avenues of teaching and the passion of coaching has just really probably inspired both of us. I've watched him just excel as an instructor. I'm super excited to hear him. He's got an unbelievable 2 facilities and a lot of good coaches underneath him, and he's put in a lot of time and not only mentoring coaches, but really helping players to the next level. He's on our committee. I forgot to mention that earlier. He's on our player development committee. So he's just got a wealth of experience and knowledge, and I'm looking forward to hearing from him.
Cool. Well, yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate you guys coming out to learn, and that's what we're here to do, is better ourselves as coaches and be the best coaches that we can be. A resource to you guys that may be helpful, RGX Golf with Will Robbins, who's partnered with the PGA. Great resource. He's been very impactful for me. He's about the coaches, so you guys can make the most money. I was always about making lessons and clinics as cheap as possible, and he wants to flip the switch. He wants us to be successful so we can stay in the industry and not get burned out. That's the big thing with golf professionals, getting burned out. So that's a great resource. He'll do a free call with you, and he's been very helpful for me in setting things up. So I'm profiting from it and making money on that. So if you have any questions further, I'm glad to talk to you about that. But I'm Bill Murchison, been in the section since 2004. That's when I met Sean. We were both trying to play, and golf was my passion. Grew up in a golf family. My dad was a tour player and a PGA professional as well. He played on the PGA Tour from 1977 to 1984, and then was a club pro until '91. Got back on the PGA Tour and the Nike Tour until 1997, and then he retired. And so Dan Rozak was my first boss there, my first golf professional. So he's very aware of my dad. And in fact, we moved up here from Orlando because Dan Rozak opened up the facility for us at Centennial Golf Club to come out there, and my dad practiced and based out of there while he was trying to play. So it was pretty cool to be a part of that. And then my dad's best finish was 3rd on the PGA Tour event, and then he won a Nike Tour event in 1995. And then he played in a couple U.S. Opens, had the lead at Shinnecock in '95 where Corey Pavin won for a little while. So that was fun being out there. Story, I was a big Freddie fan, and my dad was friends with Fred Couples. And so I was out there watching Freddie, who was paired with Tiger Woods, who was an amateur. Tiger's, it was '95, so it was his last year as an amateur, and he was this kid hitting these low sting irons that would rise. And so I'm out there watching him, and I look over at the leaderboard, and my dad's name's at the top of the list there. And I'm like, all right, Freddie, I will see you later. I'm going to go watch my dad for a little bit. So it was cool getting to watch my dad play in that and then lead the U.S. Open and just be a part of that atmosphere, which is a lot of fun. So been around golf my whole life, and that was what I wanted to do since 2 years old. Just wanted to be a tour player. Wanted to follow my dad's footsteps and be like Freddie Couples. And so everything I was doing was so I could be the best golfer I could be. And played multiple sports, developed as an athlete first, which I 100% agree on. And so my dad kept it well-rounded with everything. He didn't over-push me. But then at age 13, he came up to me and said, if now we need to start specializing. If you want to get good at something, now we got to narrow in our focus. And so he built a plan for me, a fitness plan, a practice plan. And it's like, if this is what you want to do, this is what we're going to have to do. And you're going to have to start working it. So I started on that plan, and about a month or two into it, I'm like, Dad, this is hard. This is not what I thought it was going to be. He would wake me up at 5:30 in the morning, and I'd have to go run laps. And I was like, I'm not sure I want to do this. And so I took a little break for a little while. My sister had cancer and was just trying to figure things out. And then I was working at Chick-fil-A and PetSmart, and I sold his daughter a fish. And he was reminding me earlier. And I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to be the fish man anymore. So I came up to my dad, and I'm like, all right, Dad, this is what I want now. Like, this is what I really want, and I'm willing to put the time into it. And from that moment on, I really pushed myself hard to be the best golfer that I could be. I really wanted to make it and give myself the best opportunity. And I was willing to make the sacrifice. On my 21st birthday, I went to bed at 8 p.m. Because I really wanted to do well in the next day. And that's the type of discipline and dedication it takes to play at a high level. So highlights, I played in 4 professional national championships, got through one, got to play in the PGA Championship in 2012 at Kiawah Island. It was pretty cool. I got to play with Jason Day, who was world #1 at the time, and Bill Haas, so that was pretty special. Learned a lot from them. And then later that year made it to finals at Q School and earned web.com status. So it was cool opportunities that I've had with golf. But lost my status, and then in 2014, the director of instruction job came open at the facility I was at, Town Lake Hills Golf Club. And so just had a family at the time, had my first child, and so it was time to now focus on the family and being now the best coach. When I got in the section in 2004, I was not the best coach, and I'll tell you that. When I was giving lessons, I was looking at my clock when the lesson was going to be over. I was counting down how much I was going to make. I just was not really into it. I was focused on when I could go practice so I could play. One thing I did do that was helpful, but it wasn't the right thing to do, is I would set up my practice or my lesson where I'd just compete with them the whole time. So I was just having chipping contests, putting contests, which some of the kids loved, but I was doing it more for me. So now I'm a little bit different now. I really care about the juniors and being the best coach that I can be. And so I've had great mentors. Sean's been awesome in my world and really helped me as a player. He was my private coach for a long time and helped me out, and a huge mentor with me in becoming a better coach, because coaching's hard. There's a lot to learn, and I really had the same passion as him, which was helping elite players. So very thankful for that. So hopefully you can pick up some nuggets today. Been fortunate enough to hang around a lot of great players and watch them develop from juniors and then now even make it on the tour. We've had Chris Kirk grew up at our facility, and Anders Albertson, who are both on the PGA Tour. So it was pretty cool being a part of their childhood, watching them develop and things that they've done. So first I have a question for you guys is, does anybody offer an elite program at your facility? Just one. Does anybody want to offer an elite program at your facility? Interesting. Good. Good. It's hard, right? It's hard to do. Jacob, do you guys use any type of curriculum?
Just started last week.
Just started.
Today is the third session.
Have you thought of a type of curriculum?
I'm brainstorming, and that's why another reason why I'm here, to pick your brain.
Well, good. I've tried them all. I've looked at all of them. There may be one that I haven't, but I've looked at a lot of them. So glad to be a resource and just see, what's out there, and we'll talk about that today. So I'm excited about talking about elite junior programming and what it takes to take juniors to the next level and beyond. And it's interesting to see patterns in success, right? From juniors that have taken that game, like the Ford brothers that you're talking about. What are the patterns that help get them to that next level? And so I've put together just a conversation for us to just talk about 6 that I've highlighted of just traits and things that have helped juniors advance to that next level. So the first one we'll go over is desire. It first starts with inside. This is a girl, Mackenzie Morris, who's at our facility, at our club. I just love the face. Like, she's just intense. Ever since she was 5 years old, she started in our program. She's just that type A, that intense personality, but she's fired up. She wants to win. It's just in her, and that's what it really takes. It's in the person that has to want something, and the word desire, a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. So a junior has to want it. They have to really want what it takes. And like for me, I wanted it at 13, but I didn't want it bad enough. At 16, that's when I really flipped the switch on this is what I really want, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And so we have to find out, what does the junior want? What is the player's desire? Is it just high school golf? Is it college golf? Is it professional golf? We need to know what they want so we can help guide them along the way and find out, are they willing to make the sacrifice? Because there will be sacrifices, right? Golf is hard. Tournament golf is brutal. Can you guys all agree upon that? I mean, anybody's been thrown off the mountain. It is a hard sport, and so what's going to keep them driving forward? That's the desire part. That's the part that's going to get them back up so they can climb Mount Everest again. A lot of parents don't know, but only 6% of high school golfers are going to get a chance to compete and play in college golf. That's not great odds, and so parents don't know these things. But why? Because it's hard. Playing college golf is hard. So why won't they play college golf? Why won't they take their game to the next level? I put a list of things this is patterns that we've seen in our junior program, and just go over a few. They don't really know what it takes, right? They say, sounds like it's cool, sounds like it's fun, but it's not something that they really know what are all the steps that it takes. And so most Division I players, if we backtrack it when they're 14, 15, 16 years old, they were playing about 25 hours a week on the golf course or at the facility practicing and playing. And so they're playing between 27 and 54 holes a week. That's a lot of golf. That's a lot of time. And little Johnny thinks his 8 hours a week is going to get him to that Division I college scholarship. It's not going to happen. But he doesn't know it, right? He thinks he's on the right track, but that's our job to educate him. And maybe if we make him aware of it, we can help develop him into, oh, okay, so maybe let's start stepping it up to 15 hours, and let's see how you handle 15 hours, and we can keep progressing it and stepping it up from that way. But it's helpful so that he knows what it takes, so then we can find out, is he willing to do the necessary steps. So this is huge, right? It's not them that wants it. How many parents that they want it for their junior? We see that so much, and if the junior's heart and mind is not there, they're not gonna take their game to the next level. So you can only fake it for so long. If their heart and their desire is not there, they're not going to take their game to the next level. All right, it just sounds like a good idea, right? It always sounds like a good idea playing well, right? It sounds fun. Look at the guys on TV. Guys that come in posting a nice score. It looks like it's fun, but it's more like just a fantasy. It's more like just a dream with no action behind it, and it does take action to take your game to the next level. Next one is not wanting it bad enough. That was me at 13. Didn't want it bad enough to keep waking up at 5:30 in the morning. It's hard. There's so many distractions, right? Especially this day and age. I mean, I feel bad for the kids with the entertainment, the distractions, the pressures. There's so much there, and to weed all that out so they can stay focused on they want is very difficult. I had to have a conversation with one of our juniors. He was missing some of his homework, and just trying to ask deeper questions and to find out. And come to find out, his screen time on his phone was over 9 hours a day, and most of the time was TikTok. So there's a reason why he's not taking his game to the next level, and he's missing all these things. His mind's not there. Well, ask the deeper question and find some things out to find these things. Well, can I help him, right? Can I help develop him into, okay, let's set some boundaries with your screen time. Like, how can I keep you accountable? How can I help you out so we can limit some of these distractions, because maybe they do want it bad enough, and maybe they just need help with that, right? So that's something that we can find out. Because what's hard is if you're missing one skill, you can't. That can be the difference maker between you making it or not making it, and sometimes it is just them helping. All right, not doing the necessary requirements. Sometimes it's just lazy, sometimes it's cutting corners. For me, I wanted to cut corners a little bit. I was tired of having to actually do all the necessary steps that it required, but there are a lot of steps that it takes to play at an elite level, and you've got to be willing to do all the necessary steps to meet those requirements. What I found is pairing a junior up that may be kind of on the fence, pair them up with someone who is doing the work. Like Chris mentioned, up the 13-year-old with the 9-year-old, and just them seeing it in action is extremely helpful, so they can paint the picture of what that looks like on not cutting corners, on being diligent, on taking their time, all those things. That's very helpful, I found. All right, no plan or unorganized. It's more just like a dream, right? And without a plan, you can pretty much plan to fail. So how many times do we see kids just grab a couple bags of range balls, throw them up on the range, and just start swinging away? Happens all the time. They have no plan. They don't know where they're going. They're just kind of swinging for success, and it's not going to get them there. All right, next is overconfident. They think their game is better than it is. We've had a number of juniors who think their 75 at their home club is going to take them to that D1 scholarship, and it's not going to happen. So we've got to. That's a hard one. We want them to be confident. Confident is huge, but we also need to let them know where their benchmarks stand, so they can see, okay, here's where other juniors are at your age, playing at the level you want to get to. And so that they can actually bring their confidence to a realistic level. All right, not coachable. That's a tough one there. These kids, you have to let them fail. Let them fail, and let them be ready to learn. Let them ready to be coachable. And when they are coachable, guess what? Then you can really help them out. But you can't help them out if they are not coachable. All right, the excuse makers. This is a popular one, right? Always have an excuse on why they can't perform, why they can't take their round to the next level. It's always somebody else. They got the victim mentality. These kids wear you out. We see it all over. So I found a great resource, the Champ vs. Chump book, Dr. Brett McCabe. Very helpful resource. I'll have juniors go through that, and it really paints a picture of what a chump mindset looks like. And so it gets them thinking, oh, when I'm complaining like that, when I'm blaming my coach and I'm blaming this, I'm blaming something, now it lets them know that they're aware of that. And then when I'm in the champ mindset, okay, here's how I'm thinking, here's what I'm thinking.
That one a good one for parents too?
Yeah, absolutely. And even have, there is some questions in there that is personal. So some students, I'll have them, this is just between you and me, and I'll sit down in the office and we'll go over the questions, and then some I'll have them do as a family where they can talk to their parents. So every parent and junior situation is different, right? So just have to feel it out, and if it's already touchy with the parent and the son, then I'll just deal with that myself. I try to do a lot myself with the parents, but sometimes you have to bring them in. All right, so number 2 is it takes time to develop. So to take the juniors to the next level, they have to, it's just going to take time. So just like if you want to be a millionaire, it just takes time and time and time and doing the right things, right? And if you want to be an athlete, it's just going to take time and doing the necessary steps. Everybody's heard of the 10,000 hour rule, right? That's a lot of time working on your skills. I mean, there's so many skills in golf. I mean, can you think of another sport that has this many skills, this many different types of skills to equal performance? There's a lot there. And we have, I mean, juniors coming, 16 years old, shooting in the low 80s that want to play Division I golf. And like, sorry, buddy, you don't have enough time, right? Or the high school student that comes out and they've got tryouts next week and they haven't touched a club all winter. Sorry, buddy, you don't have enough time. Yeah, let's get you ready for next year on that. And I try to make it realistic for them on the expectation. You don't want to make the mountain so high that it scares them away, but you do want to give them the steps in order, and hey, there's a lot of skills here, because sometimes they think, man, if I fix this, I'm good. It's like, no, we got a bunch of other skills, and it is going to take time. This is a journey. It's not just a destination. And so, you know, you've got an 8-year-old junior, and they're not going to be swinging at 90 miles an hour. It's not going to happen. But if we do the right steps, and we do the right things, guess what? We can get you up to 90 miles an hour at age 12. And guess what? That's a great goal for you. So let's start with here's some steps, and here's some things that you can do. So there's no magic wand, and that's the thing with, right, parents, their expectation is that my coach is going to just fix them like that, right? Some things you can fix real fast, get your setup in order, and things are really good. And then some things, I mean, develop as a elite player, it takes a lot of time. So it's just educating the parent and the junior on the process, the journey, and just having them enjoy that journey. All right, so here's something that TPI recommends is a 13 and 15-year-old practice between 16 hours a week and 27 holes a week. I think that's pretty good, a benchmark of time to dedicate. And so I try to instruct, educate parents on this, and even juniors. And then a 16 hours, and everyone's different on this. Like Jonathan Bird's kid, he's not practicing it. He's practicing 10 hours, but he's performing incredible. So this is just kind of a benchmark that they've found in their research on kids that have really developed what kind of time that they were spending. So at least it's a helpful kind of guide, but every situation is different, so you just have to look at that individually. All right, next is going to be build a plan for your junior. And so we've got to interview and assess their game so you can build an individualized plan for them. And I do this even if it's going to be in a group setting, and we'll talk more about that, or an individualized setting. I still have an elite program, an individual plan for them, because everyone's different. I'm using the elite group as a way to help develop them in ways that they could not get in just individual. So we need to know where their skills are at, and then what skills are missing, what skills need refining, and then we can meet with the parents and the junior and then set realistic expectations and timelines on where they need to get to. So fitting them in the right group is important. We have 2 elite groups, which I recommend. We've got one is our level 3 group, and it's a little bit more instructional based, and that's because the juniors haven't developed fully their skills yet, their fundamentals yet. We still do a lot of competitions, a lot of games, a lot of shot library stuff. But our next level, our level 4, those are the juniors who want to play collegiate golf at a higher level. Now, these guys need more competition. They need more measured practice. They need more refining because their skills, their fundamentals need tested more. So, you know, it just putting the junior in the right group. You don't know that unless you interview them, you assess their game, you find out where their game's at, and then you can fit them into the right group. So let's say you're creating a plan for a junior that wants to play college golf. Well, parents don't know these things. They think if just because their kid can shoot in the 70s, he's going to go to college golf. Well, you got to have great grades. I don't care if you're going to a D1 school, grades are extremely important to the coach. It also helps the coach, can give you the Hope Scholarship. You can get some scholarship dollars. That helps the coach. They don't have to give you as much. So grades are extremely important that coaches look at. They know if your grades are good, you're organized, you're great at practicing, you don't have to babysit you. Next is results in ranked tournaments. So something that they're looking at. They're not really looking at high school tournament scores. So parents think that their kid shoots a decent score in a high school event, that's it. And it's like, no, they need to be playing in certain ranked events like AJGA, Southeastern, Georgia PGA, state events. Those are all good events that are going to give you your junior golf stat scoreboard ranking, which is extremely important. And that's going to kind of help a college player or a player know where they can go to. So if a junior's ranked 3,000 in the country and they say they want to play for Georgia, well, we've got 2 years to get there. What type of ranking do we need to get into Georgia? Well, if you get to 500, you're not getting into Georgia. If you get into 250, you're not getting into Georgia. You better be probably top 50 on the junior golf scoreboard ranking to have a chance at Georgia. So knowing where your ranking is and then having a plan to move up that ranking is super helpful. And you can find all that out at Junior Golf Scoreboard Ranking and type in the junior's name and you can find out where they're ranked. And then another resource on there is you can find out who got ranked in what year. So, and at what were they ranked when they got recruited to Georgia. So that's something that's helpful. And so you can see, like for Kennesaw State, okay, this junior was ranked 240th in the country when he got ranked for Kennesaw State. And that allows you that if you're 750th, if your junior's 750th, they're probably not going to make it even on the Kennesaw State team. So let's look at schools in that realm and make sure you're talking to those things. So that all needs to be a part of the plan that you're talking to, and that changes over time. Like a 12-year-old, you're talking a little bit about this, but you're not, it's more as they're getting 14, 15, 16, that's when you're really starting to talk more about this. But I definitely do talk about speed with our younger juniors. That's something we do a lot of, is work on speed drills. And so out of high school, we want our juniors, 115 is a good benchmark to be out of high school. And it seems fast, but that's where the game's going. If you want to play at an extremely high level, it's got to be with that. I know Clemson right now is 3 freshmen at 125. That's 3 freshmen. So if your junior's 108, you're not getting recruited at Clemson. They want speed. Kennesaw State, there's a kid that's 108 at Kennesaw State, and you can play there, but to play at the highest level, yeah, speed is a big part of the game nowadays, and college coaches are looking at that. Clean fundamentals, everyone's, the juniors send in their videos to the coaches review that, they're looking at your fundamentals. They want to make sure that you're not having to time things just perfectly to score what you're scoring. Self-sufficient, they don't want to babysit you, extremely important, so I tell that to the juniors, part of the plan. You got to learn to communicate and you've got to be self-sufficient. I can't keep having to push you and keep asking you to do things because the college coaches are going to want that. And then a winning attitude, you're going to brand the school and they want to make sure that you're going to brand them well. So those are all the things that when I'm building a plan for a junior to go to college, there's a lot in there that parents aren't aware of, that the junior's not even aware of, and we've got to have them work on each one of these so they have the complete package. All right, now number 4 is develop a team of coaches. And so this is Sea Island. I wish this was my team of coaches, but we're in the process of developing that ourselves where I'm at. But this is, Sea Island's doing an incredible job of, they built up a a team, a roster of coaches that can really help their junior from any needs necessary that they have. So 100% recommend partnering, building up a team, developing a group of specialists that can really help your juniors. And so I think it's important that it gives you credibility when it's not just coming from one person, it's actually coming from a team of people saying the same thing. Because a lot of times, especially if it's not working out after 1 or 2 times, to have another resource there is extremely helpful. And so, like, I partner with Sean, I brought people to Sean, and that's been extremely helpful. Just knowing that I have another resource that I can go to get another eye on a junior if I'm missing something. But let's say, like, we've got a guy, Blake Stark, that does gas force plates at our club. I have no interest in gas force plates, but taking a junior to get an assessment on there has really helped me to understand things that I just couldn't see with my eye. But I would never have done that myself, and I don't want to be a 3D or force plate specialist, but partnering with him and having a junior get on there once or twice a year and really start to understand what they do has been extremely helpful. Guess what? And I've just kept that student now under my roof there, because I can, he's got the tools needed, and I didn't have to learn all that information, right? I see how much work Blake has to do to learn all that stuff, and it's a ton. But club fitter, I don't want to be a club fitter. I do know how to club fit, but it's not my specialty, so we've got a club fitter there that I can just send my junior off to and make sure his equipment is dialed in with the necessary needs. So if you can start building a team here, now you've got the resources to give yourself, your junior, the best knowledge possible, so that you're not having any gaps, right? Because if there's any gaps in performance, you may miss the opportunity on going to that next level. So 100% recommend building up a team of coaches. I think the stat coach is kind of the latest one. A lot of tour players have a stat coach, and I think it's extremely helpful to kind of know where your stats are so you can know exactly what to work on. Does anybody have a team of coaches? I know Atlanta Athletic Club, you guys have a great team over there. Does anybody else have a team of coaches at their facility? So definitely some room there that you can grow and build from that. It doesn't have to be a big academy as well. I mean, I'm at Town Lake Hills Golf Club, where when I started working there, 2003, the instructor made $34,000. It was given a few lessons, wasn't making a lot of money, and so when I took it over, we have 8 full-time coaches at Georgia Golf Performance, at Bridge Mill, and Town Lake Hills Golf Club, and we've got 8 full-time coaches that we're building a team right now, in the process of building this team, and it's at a semi-private course that you would never guess would have be able to handle this many coaches. And so I think any facility can build that. It's what's your vision, just like Chris was saying, is set a vision, just keep trying to get better every year, and be very thorough with organizing it. All right, this is more of the fun part I enjoy, is progress tracking, right? You need to know that your junior is getting better. And so do you have tools that can track progress to make sure that you are continue on in the timeline that you want? So I think if you're just focused on instruction, I think you're missing out. I think you've got to have ways that that show the junior that they're improving, right? And especially when parents are investing a lot of money. Elite junior golf costs a lot of money. They want to know that they are improving. And so I put together some ways. Is everybody familiar with the TrackMan Combine? Does anybody use it on their juniors? What ages do you start using it, Sean?
Early as 10.
10 years old, yeah. Do you refine it? Do you adjust it?
Yeah, I mean, especially when with how long they are and what's their most used club, right?
Yeah.
So if they're going to be able to hit, let's just say, a stand wedge inside 60 yards, I might go 60, 50, 40, and have them hit multiple distances from that in a staggered way and then a random way and back and forth. Obviously obviously, if it's a staggered way of progressing, they're pretty good, but random, they're terrible. You know?
Yeah.
So you got to use the environment. You know, do I want to destroy him, like his confidence, or you know, lift him up? So you can be pretty manipulative if you want to there.
That's what's cool is you can create your own test on the TrackMan Combine. And so, you know, they have a standardized test, which we have a passing score for level 3. 68 is what we want passing score, females 65. This kind of gives them benchmarks of where a college player is, where a mini tour player is, high school player is, which is helpful for them to see. So now they know that their 50 is not as good a score as they want to get. So here's what we can do. Let's set up a plan so we can get to that passing score. It just gives them feedback, which is super helpful. It also keeps them engaged too. It's a lot more than just working on instruction. Now you have a feedback tool that lets them know, now let's look at why. Was it distance control? Was it directional? It gives you definitely a lot of feedback. So we use the Combine. We do it once a quarter with our juniors.
Do you post that up, like in your bay? You post like the professional? Is that what you're?
Yeah. So each junior gets each junior gets a book. So they've got a binder, and then this is in their binder, and they have to fill out their score. So they know the stats that are there. So I go over this when a new player comes in. We go over the binder and the book and the expectations and set the goals and benchmarks. And the first one, I'm like, let's just post a score. Let's just see where you're at, and that's where the assessment part is. And now we can develop a plan to try to keep improving it. But what I would like to do is eventually set up like leaderboards like you're talking about, and having like, okay, the score of the month or something like that, and just a way to motivate.
I mean, I don't know if you've ever been to the Bender Academy, but like.
I have.
Yeah, I was going to say Mike Bender's got this wedge course.
There you go.
Exactly. And he's got PGA Tour, LPGA Tour, AJGA, and it's really cool. And I mean, go ahead, explain, Bill. But I mean, it's such a huge motivator. And it's
Absolutely,
so simplistic. It's like, this is the coolest thing ever. I want to stay here all day practicing. And it's the simplest model.
Yeah, this is awesome. How many years ago he did this? He got these blocks there, 4x4 blocks. I've been there a number of times. He's been super helpful in my life. And so he's got 30 to 100 yard, and they're spread out, they're random, and so they try to knock out every block in 100 balls. At the beginning, they're not going to be able to do it. Even some tour players will go in there and they can't even finish it in 100 balls. But I think the record right now is like 28 is the record, and they have got like the LPGA record, PGA Tour record, junior record, and they have that sitting there right there on the left side of the screen, and they'll spend hours there. And it's just a way to know that, okay, if I'm knocking out these blocks, my wedge game is at a high level. So you can do something like, I looked at the blocks, it was pretty expensive to put blocks in, but I went to Walmart and I got these pools that are about 4x4, and I set up the pools on a little stand, and we have the same drill that we do at our facility just by using pools. So you find a different way to make it worthwhile, but the juniors love it. It keeps them engaged. And if they're not engaged, they're not learning, right? And we'll even compete. Morgan and I will get up there and we'll start competing, and it's fun when everyone's knocked out the 80-yard and we're competing for that last spot, and we'll put, we even put, everyone had to pay $5 and put $5 in the kitty too, just to keep them even more engaged. And so we'll try to do different things like that, because the three kind of pressure motivators are people, consequences, and cash. So if you can put something on the line there, that keeps them more engaged versus just kind of hitting balls. So that's stuff that we try to do that make it fun, but also, hey, they have their own record, right? They're tracking their progress where their best may be 50 balls, and they're trying to keep improving that. This is a short game, scoring game. You can do it on the practice facility, or you can do it on the golf course. And so just a number of different hole shots. You keep a score, and it's the juniors love it, right? They're playing a game, but the game is telling the coaches where their skills are at, but the score is telling the junior kind of where they're at. And guess what? As we work on their skills and they keep testing this and they see their scores improving, what a way to get a junior excited. And even when you meet with the parents, to just show them progress. Parents don't mind investing money. When they're seeing results and progress, and you're able to show things like this, and the kid's excited because he passed his best record or he beat the lowest score of the day, it makes it super fun. All right, another way to measure progress. This is just a a 100-foot putting test, 200 feet of putt. Goal is to make 100 feet of those putt. And so it's a great way to just track what the junior, what the player's doing. It's just a fun drill besides just hitting putts on the putting green. Now you have purpose behind it, which is so important. So it's a fun little test to do and see if their record's 50 feet. Okay, can they keep improving that? What drills are you going to do the next couple of weeks? And then let's retest this and let's see if you can actually make more than that. Here's some on-course ones that are fun to do. 3 out of 4 up and down. I was fortunate enough to spend a lot of time with the Georgia Tech team, and they used to do this all the time. They'd go out and they'd have to get 3 out of 4 up and downs every hole on the entire front 9. So you'd set up an easy one, 2 medium, and a hard one, and they couldn't leave the hole until they got 3 out of 4 up and down. Then they'd go to the next hole. And so it's just a great way, if you're able to complete it, your short game's at a high level, right? And then how many tries was it taking you? They'd come in and they would kind of talk about how many misses that they had, how many holes that they only got 2 out of 4. And so it's a great way just to see where their short game is at. But it's a hard drill. You could even set it to 2 out of 4 to make it a little easier, or even 1 out of 4, whatever it is for your junior. Distance wedge proximity challenge. I love this. I love distance wedges. So you can do 2 shots. They go to 40 yards. Hit your shots, and then what's the proximity from the hole? Write it down. Go to the next hole. All right, we're going to do 50 yards. Hit 2 wedge shots. Write down your proximity, and you can kind of see their average proximity. You can see how many big misses that they have. It's just ways to show kind of where their scoring clubs are, which are extremely important, and they love it as well. Driving 5s. That's a new one we learned last week. Dr. Morris Pickens down at Sea Island spent some time with him, and it's pretty cool. So you'll hit 2 drives on the tee shot, and you get 0 points if you're in the fairway. And if you hit it in the rough, you get 1 point. And if you're in the penalty area or a bunker, it's 2 points. Score is 2. And then you'll go to a distance wedge shot, and you'll play it out. And then you'll go to a up and down, and you'll play it out, and you'll add up the score. And so you'll do that on all the par 4s and par 5s. You'll play 7 holes, and then a good score for PGA Tour players between 35 and 40. And so he does that with a lot of his players, is he just does games with them. He does games, and in the process of doing games, he's coaching them, he's assessing them, he's just watching them and then making adjustments on their process, their routine, things like that. And so it's a great way to track progress, but also to coach your players while they're having a good time. 3-ball test, I love this one. Does your junior have the skills, what they're trying to accomplish? So let's say we go to hole 1. They have to tell me where they're trying to start the ball. They're trying to start it at this tree with a little bit of a draw, and then they push it 10 yards right, push fade. That wasn't what you were trying to do, so you got to hit another one. They go through their routine, hit the next one, and it was a draw, but it started 15 yards right and then drew back. That wasn't what you were intending to do, so you have to do another one. So they have 3 balls to do what their shot that they're calling, and if they do it and they're not having to hit that second ball or that third ball, that shows that they have the skills. If they are having to go through 3 balls and they still can't complete it, then they don't have that skill. And so I'll work our way around the golf course and just see if they have the skills to in order to do what they're calling the shot to do. And it's a great way that gives me just knowledge that they own those skills. So those are some great ones that we use. Another way is through stat tracking, right? These are some of the notable apps that I've found helpful. We use Measured Practice, Decade Golf. Anybody else use any others that are not on here that really enjoy them?
We'll be using, some of us will be using Clip very shortly.
Yes, yeah, Clip, partner with the PGA, exactly. Yeah, that's good. So using stats, very helpful to track progress and know if your junior is moving on. So lastly is the CANI, constant and never-ending improving, right? This is it's a journey. It's not a sprint. The juniors and parents, they panic, right? Johnny has one bad practice session, one bad round, and they're on an emergency call with you to get a lesson the next day to fix it. And we want to teach these juniors just how to have growth mindset, how to take and learn from their mistakes, learn from challenges, and reflect on it, right? It takes reflection on what went well, what could I improve, what can I learn from this situation. If they can have this mindset, it gives them the resources that where they can do this by themselves. They can really help themselves. And so this is a book that I use with our juniors. Brett McCabe has the Elite Journal. You can get it on Amazon and just have them, I don't do it with our level 3 as much as our level 4, and just reflect on the day so they don't waste a practice, waste a day. I've seen it happen too many times, so it's just a resource that has helped me out. Because juniors get so caught up in the emotions of it, right? And they need to understand that golf's going to be up and downs, right? 20% of your rounds are going to be horrible, 20% of your rounds are going to be great, and then everything else is going to be in between. You got to take the good with the bad. It's just part of it. And then last, I want to really help your juniors, we have to be getting better as coaches, right? We have to be always trying to improve and better ourselves. If I was the same coach I was a few years ago, there'd be a lot of players I would have missed helping take to that next level. And so learn from other coaches. I'm continuing going to try to block out more time to go visit more coaches this year so I can continue to improve my skills and better myself. You have to learn people, right? That's who we're dealing with in front of. We've got to have those soft skills where we can relate to people, we can motivate people, we can coach people, and it takes learning, even learning from our mistakes. We've all had students leave, right? That's a great way to reflect on how you're doing and what's going on and where you can improve is just from your mistakes and others leaving. And then take time to reflect on the end of your day. I'm driving home. I try to look at what are 3 things I did well today, what are 3 things that I could improve in every situation. And it bothers me when I give a bad lesson, but we've all given bad lessons, and that's what makes us better, though. Or if I don't have answers, then I go call on Sean, I go call on other people so I can find out those answers. So, with this is, as much as it was an individual kind of topic, even in an elite program, you have to have these pieces because we're developing the people here, individual. We're just using the group model as a way to help these juniors in ways that you couldn't get it with an individual. So you've got to have the junior in the program that has the desire. They have to have time that it's going to take to develop the necessary skills. You have to create a clear plan for them that they can follow, and you have to have a team of coaches that can help give them the knowledge necessary to get there. And then you've got to know that you're on track for progress, and then continually trying to improve with what you have. So with our junior program, one thing that I'm getting pickier on is who's in our elite program, because I've had juniors that the first page that didn't want to do the necessary requirements, they just didn't want it, their parents wanted it for them. It really watered down our elite program, and it kind of ruined the culture that we've had. So I've been pickier and pickier on who's coming into our elite program, and it's really setting the standard of this is our standard, this is our culture, but guess what, we're going to help get you to that next level. So that's what I would recommend doing, is really being picky in the interview process and being strict on who you bring in, and not just focus. I've been focused on numbers, and I've been focused on making sure I say yes to everybody, but it didn't necessarily help the junior program. But glad to answer any questions that you guys have, or talk to you guys on an individual basis about elite group programming. I feel like I'm just on the beginning of becoming an elite junior coach, and so I'm still trying to continue to find out the best information that I have so I can help juniors. Group coaching is hard. At an elite level, it is really hard because you got different personalities, you got different skills, people need different things, and so it is challenging. But coaching is fun when you can impact someone, when you can help someone get from one level to the next. It's extremely, you feel extremely blessed as a coach. So, yeah, thank you for your time. And if you have any questions, love to answer any questions.
How often are you encouraging healthy competition in your level 4 versus need to go off by themselves and put in the work?
There's a blend of that, right? There's a balance of that, and it really is, where you at. If you have tournaments coming up, you got more events coming up, switch that over to the more competitive side, right? I mean, if your skills in order, I don't want you at the academy, right? I want you on the golf course. I want you playing games, compete, right? And one of the patterns that we've seen, and you've seen from the Ford brothers, is what do? They're playing the par 3 contest over and over and over again. Chris Kirk at our facility, what was he doing in high school? He was chipping and putting, having competition over and over again. He wasn't sitting there just working on his technique. Anders Albertson was doing that at an earlier stage, and then as he started getting closer to the Georgia Tech stage, he switched it over to just a lot of competition. And so I definitely recommend heavier on the competition side. But if you're not performing and you're not happy with the skills, yeah, maybe take a time out and go work more on the skills set. Yes?
Yeah, when you have a kid that you see that has kind of the attitude and the approach that will work and the talent, but might not have the resources or the dedication from the parents, what's your approach with that? How do you keep them engaged in the program?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. The parents have to be on board. They're investing on it, right? Is there ways? I've even had it where, have these conversations, just get the junior involved where, okay, the parents aren't willing to invest, but can you help out around the academy, and I'll help you out with this side of it. So, offering a way to get them involved somehow that may not be from the parents. But, Chris Kirk, his parents never asked him to take to the golf course. He was bugging his parents to take him to the golf course. So I'd like to see it from the junior. Their desire is they're pushing their parents. But any way that you can help as a coach to get him involved. We're working on ways to more have scholarship opportunities to get juniors like that who have the dedication but may not have the resources to get them into our program where they couldn't fund it originally. And then also we let juniors use some of our tools. So if you're in our program, you can, if you want to do a TrackMan test, I'll set you up a TrackMan test. If you want to use our putting arc, you can use our putting arc. So you have access to some of our tools where they normally wouldn't be able to purchase this if they're in our program.
Is it you charge them yearly, monthly? What's the?
Monthly. There's a commitment, minimum commitment, right? 3-month commitment. Having talks on, like to build to like a year commitment. Obviously for the elite program, I mean, but that's like some serious buy-in. But there's a lot that goes into like that, some type of commitment like that. But start with some kind of commitment, because it's going to take more than 3 weeks to develop Johnny, right? It's a journey. They need to understand that. Like, this is going to be, you're not paying for time. You're paying for results. You're paying for the journey. You're paying for, this is what it's going to take. So yeah, at minimum, a 3-month commitment.
What's in your journal?
What's in my journal?
What's in your journal, and what's in the journal for your level 4s?
So my particular journal, as a coach or a player? As a coach, I want to connect with them. Like that's the biggest thing for me. Be upbeat, be positive. Juniors are down about something. They're always down about something, but there's always something going on here. So if I'm engaged, if I'm ask them non-golf things, like what they're looking at on their phone, what they're watching on TV, what they're eating, I try to get in their head, their world. So that's a lot of stuff. Is I want to be the coach that's super engaged. So a lot of times, like the stress of running an academy is a lot of time distracts me, and next thing I know, I'm in fight or flight, and now I'm not engaging. So a lot of me is really putting in my journal, is putting stuff aside so I can be, when I'm at the facility, I'm out there coaching, I'm super engaged in them, and they're getting what they want out of it. And then with their journal, just teaching them distractions is a big one, where that's the biggest thing we're dealing with. Every junior raised their hand last meeting on the biggest distraction is their phone. So helping them set up boundaries, and then even, okay, we're going to talk next week about restrictions on their phone, right? Set some sort of restriction. If this is a distraction, if this is causing us not to get our game to the next level, let me help you out with that. This 2-hour practice, I'm okay if they video their swing, or there's a time and place for it. I'm even okay with music, right? I want them engaged. I love listening to music while I'm practicing, but on TikTok while you're practicing, no. So the journal is also about writing in their goal. What is their goal? So they have purpose behind it, right? And I try to let them know ahead of time the purpose today is more a competition side, or it's more instructional side. So I try to let them know that, so now they're aware of it, and then they're writing down, how can I get the most out of this, where this other junior is bothering me, my dad's bothering me. This is where they write and leave all that stuff behind, and then they're clocking in. Their 2 hours is like, it's go time.
Time for one more
Cool.
question.
I'm more of a compliment. I mean, well done in terms of just for presenting your little 6 notes. I think, don't be shy and, I mean, if a kid has a phone, don't be shy in telling them to get out their notes on their phone.
Yeah.
And speak into it, you know, not via text, but like being held accountable. And then,
Absolutely.
And then when you come back the next lesson, did you follow it up? Now, I mean, obviously we'd love to have journals and writing and so forth, but we have to be adaptive to the fact that, I mean, hardly any of these kids don't even pick up a piece of paper. It's a voice text, it's voice command, it's, you know, that's where we're ever adapting. And so, you know, a lot of times I tell my students, like, after the last bit of the lesson, get out their notes on their phone and let's talk about the lesson. And they have to tell me the lesson. They have to tell me what happened. You know, because I can be a talking head really quickly and go, this kid learned nothing, and I was fantastic. But again, if there's no learning, there was no teaching. You know, I mean, it's a very reciprocal type of relationship. It's just me talking, and there's no teaching if the kid's not learning something. And so you got to create a little bit of an environment where they're comfortable doing some new things, whether it's talking to their phone or writing or texting, and hitting goals like, hey, next week we're at 88 miles per hour. I want you to do the speed drills every night for 100 times, 300 times, whatever it is. Next week we're gonna hit 90, and then you're like the biggest cheerleader, you know. And I'm screaming, and I'm like, come on, you know, like trying to amp up. But again, the buy-in as a coach to the player, man, that does wonders. Even if just fake it for a minute, it does wonders for the kid. Even though if you don't have it in you, and it's a long day. But
Don't be afraid to start small with the junior program. I started an elite junior program 14, 15, and it was nothing like this. I did Operation 36, USA Junior Golf, and that's how I got better. I'm so hard-headed that I did not want to fail. Like Chris said, it's a journey. There's a lot of tools that I've learned from spending, and we still got a long way to go. I still want to learn a lot more tools, but even you can start with just running a lot of short game. You can't go wrong. You do a lot of short game with juniors. That can be your elite program. Is just do some short game stuff. So start small and just build it and keep getting better every year at what you do. But you've got to be super organized, like Chris said, with it, because they'll see right through it if things aren't set in the stone. So I'm glad to be a resource on any of this, and I'd love to see in a year or two time a lot more elite programs out there so we can help these juniors.